What's up, Desktopers? In this interview with Lee Priest, Australia's greatest bodybuilder of all time, we discuss his comeback, plus he reveals which contest he might actually compete in, who would win between Shawn Ray, Flex Lewis, Derek Lunsford and Lee Priest in the 212 in their prime. Lee Priest gives his opinion on that one, his battle with anxiety attacks, his last contest stack, plus much more. Hope you guys really enjoy this interview, and if you do enjoy it, please give this video a thumbs up, smash that like button, also subscribe and hit the notification bell button. That way you'll be notified of every video that goes up from myself, Xavier Wills at Desktop Bodybuilding. Anyway guys, enjoy the video.
She was killed, and they tried
the top
to
six
cover it
girls
up.
really look great, but you seem to have that perfect aesthetic.
I wasn't
look.
into hip hop or even soul music.
There are definitely people that need a little Viagra.
What's up, Desktopers? Xavier Wills here for Desktop Bodybuilding, and today I'm joined with one of Australia's, if not Australia's best bodybuilder of all time, and one of the best bodybuilders of all time, full stop. I'm joined by Lee Priest. Lee, how you doing?
G'day, how you been?
I've been
Long
very well.
times no see since the RX show.
Yeah, that was recent. That was super recent. But
About
yeah,
a month ago, a couple of weeks.
yeah, no, it's cool. It's I enjoy coming on Heavy Muscle Radio every now and then, and it's good to see you on there all the time and stuff. And I was actually just listening to an interview. It was an Iron Rage, I think, with you and Dave Pulsanella, and that was a pretty insane episode.
Don't believe all those stories now. Don't believe all those stories.
But I was literally
well, you are looking pretty cute in that hat today. Xavier.
Don't worry, I won't be the initiator. It's fine. But
I won't do anything, but if it happens, it happens. You know.
It's not my fault. But let's get into this.
Now people are going to wonder what we're talking about. You'll have to go watch the RX show.
Yeah, I'll put a link in the description so everyone can go check that out. But the reason, well, part of the reason I wanted to have you back on regardless anyway, but it basically came out that you're potentially going to make a comeback, that you're doing this transformation release to start with. You got sponsored by Species Nutrition, which is Dave Palumbo's company. Obviously, you can see all the tubs in the background there. And it's really cool because there's been speculation of a comeback for years now with you. And obviously the speculation before you even made the NABBA Universe comeback, which is now what, 9 years ago or something like that, which is...
2013, yeah.
Yeah, 9 years. So it's been a while, or maybe it's 8.5 years, depending on what time of year it was.
Trust me, I know, because I've been on this diet now. What is it? 2 weeks, 4 days, 7 hours and 35 seconds, but who's counting? And I didn't realize, like, I was eating fairly clean before and doing lots of cardio. But since I got this diet, I mean, it's pretty much like a contest one. Pretty much think of a contest diet, and I'm still training and doing the cardio, but only 300 milligrams a test. So after 2 weeks on this diet, I'm on the treadmill. I'm like, I feel like I'm in my 10th week of fucking contest prep. I got no energy because you got to understand, since 2013, I've just been eating whatever I want. You know, like I said, I'd eat fairly clean, but then, you know, if you go to the petrol station to fill up and you walk inside, you're like, oh, there's a Kit Kat. I'll have a Kit Kat. It's just something small like that. That could be all I have the whole day. But yet knowing you can have it, it just makes your mind feel at ease. This last 2.5 weeks, when I go to the petrol station, I go to the grocery store and I'm seeing hot cross buns and shit like that. I'm like, I'm fucking miserable. So 2 days ago, I had those Cadbury speckled eggs. I found them in the cupboard. Found them. Because I hid them, I found them. I thought I'd just have one. You know what it's like when you get the taste of chocolate. Ate the whole lot. But then I figured, you know what? The next day I had such a great workout. I did cardio twice as hard. So in the long run, I think it benefited me. Well, that's my excuse, and I'm sticking to it.
It's actually funny because sometimes things like that, people that are the most, like, you know, there's people that go whole preps where they stay on the same sort of diet. They don't really do the higher days and stuff, and they do 12 weeks of it. And then one time they'll lose their mind and pig out, and then their physique starts actually responding again. So it actually has been beneficial.
Well, I always found that, because all the time when I dieted, getting ready for a show, I always would have people say cheat meal, but I'm the type, if I have a cheat in breakfast time, I'm like, you know what, you fucked up already, have the whole day. So I do. But I would never do that until I got almost near contest shape. But because I don't have a contest, it's transformation. And those pictures Dave put up, oh my God, it's like they came about was Lee, send me some photos. And when I did muscle tech pictures, it was like I did the befores and made myself look really bad. Like you do a side chest and I'd go to flex, the muscle tech goes, no, don't flex, just hold your arm there. So you don't want you to tense. So Dave was asking for these pictures and I've been putting them off for a few days. And this was like before bed, I'm half asleep. I said, oh, fuck, I got to take those pictures for Dave. So I just got down to my underwear. I got these bulbs, you know, the bulbs that are just that shitty yellow light where, well, I don't want people to say you're using lighting to make me look good. As you can see, I did it. So I got this shitty lighting, no pumping up, not shaven. And I just stood there, not flexing, just like holding my arms into pose position, but not tensed. I said, I'll send these to Dave because then once I've transformed, he'll put them up side by side. I go to bed, I get up at 4 o'clock and have my coffee. I'm like, fuck, Dave, put them up. I'm like, what the fuck? So I said to my wife, I said, it is embarrassing, but yet, I said, well, I haven't done those type of things since, like I said, 2013. And then someone put up an O2 picture and the one now. I figured, well, you know, from 2002, 20 years later, I guess I don't look too bad considering, like I said, like the last proper cycle I did was on DECA around 2016 when I had the injuries and shit, thinking the DECA might help. But after that, I haven't taken anything. So now I've been on test for 3.5 weeks, or it's the comeback. So I figured, well, really no drugs and training, just been, you know, when you're not competing, you sort of, I'll have heavy days and I'll have just light days. I just figured as long as I go to the gym and do something, a light pump, it's better than doing nothing. So then I saw the pictures. I'm like, well, I'm not pumped up. The shitty light, I'm not shaven. So really, I can't get any worse from there. So no matter what happens from this point on, I said to my wife, even in a week's time, if I was to shave, pump up and tan, I look like it's been 6 weeks transformation.
Yeah, exactly.
And actually flex. And actually flexing the picture, people are like, oh my God, you've done it so quick.
Yeah, I'll pull up the photos so people can see anyway. If I can
what I got to learn is I've got to learn Photoshop. I've never used it before, but this would be a great time to learn.
Lee, I'm good at Photoshop. I'm all decent anyway. I do all those like thumbnails.
Okay, I'll send you my photos, and then you can...
I'll just adjust them and make them look perfect.
But say, Xavier, just bring the waist in like this, bring the arms out, bring this in, and in 5 weeks' time, I can be like, because like I said, if you saw me in person dressed in clothes, you'll think, fuck, Lee looks good and shit. So it's not like I'm going to get naked and pose. So if I look good in the pictures, they'll think, well, that's how he looks now. See?
Yeah, and I've got to bring
out. Not too bad, I guess. But I'll be 50 in July, so I'm a worst critic. But you know, I guess it's not too bad. But still, it's not where I'd really like to look at.
Sure, but and you've got like, you can see here, like the hair on your triceps is like adding like an extra inch to your arm.
Milos commented on that. I said, yes, Milos, that's why I leave the hair on. It's an extra inch or two.
Yeah, that's so good. But I actually think it's cool that these images are out here. I was like, oh wow, I'm surprised you released like images straight away with the transformation, but not knowing that Dave
did. So once Dave did, I said, you know what, the world's seen him now. And even my wife's like, well, ask Dave to take him down. Well, by that point, when I saw Dave put him up, 5 other sites to put him up, I'm like, there's no getting them back. So I might as well just throw it to the wind, whatever. So who cares?
Yeah. Well, I think that's honestly, like, I think the reason why you're so well liked, and I suppose like guys like you and guys like, obviously when Boston Lloyd was around and a bunch of other guys like that, it's just the level of honesty. Like you guys are so honest and transparent, like talking about like what you're talking about with like Dave on Iron Rage and what you've talked about on other things, like just shit people wouldn't say. Like people just wouldn't say it publicly. They would just be like, no, I'm keeping that one just in the bank. Like I'm not even going to say it.
They wouldn't say it, but have they done it? They're
exactly.
Like, oh, well,
I guarantee
they're sitting there going, well, that, but fuck, I wouldn't say it on me.
Yeah, like I have friends that I know stories about them that I know they would never say publicly, never, like it's between us, and I'm like, I bet a lot of people have that. So it's just no one says.
You've been the type is like, I couldn't care. To me, like I said, I do it in a way where it's funny. And then sometimes when I do it, people are like, is he really being serious or is he just joking? I'm like, well, I'll leave that up to you to decide. But, it's just like, that's what I've always said from day one when it came to my drug use, when it came to stories like that, I said, because somewhere along the line, somebody might know, or the person that was involved might tell someone, and then someone will get back to you and go, hey, Lee, I know what you did. If you don't do this, I'm going to tell people. I'm like, I've already told them. It's like, it's no secret. It's like, it's out there.
It was funny. Lee, I actually remember
no one can hold nothing over your head.
Yeah, exactly. Now, I remember back to when you came down to, I was, I think, 15 years old at the time, or maybe
Oh,
16.
Jesus.
And this was down in Tasmania. This is Extreme Physique, which was Wayne and Sean Howart's gym.
Oh, yeah.
And you came down and did that seminar. I think they had like a gazebo sort of set up outside, and it was in there.
And
I
they
remember,
brought me lots of cakes and stuff.
oh yeah, he would have
We
spoiled you. I
would-
remember that.
Yeah.
But yeah, because that was obviously post comp. You actually won the Australian Pro, which I think was up on the Gold Coast that year.
The first pro show I won was, it's in the Gold. Was it at the Gold Coast, or was that the second one on the Gold Coast? Or are they both up there?
I think I remember you came down from the Gold Coast and you just won it. So I don't know if you won.
Okay.
Yeah, but I remember
05 I won.
or maybe second. I can't
And
remember
then
that.
06 I got second, I think.
Oh, maybe it was the one where Ronnie Raquel won and you got second.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
remember, because the year before, Chris was like upset saying I won because I was from Australia and this and that, and then this time I knew I was getting second because before I come out on stage, Carol Graham's like, "Now I want people to know it doesn't matter where you come from. If you're from Australia or you've been on lots of covers and that, it doesn't matter with the judging and stuff." And in my family went, "Oh God, here we go. He's not going to win this one because they're making an example this year." So.
Oh, that's rough. It's actually funny because it almost goes the opposite way sometimes. And even with my clients, like when I watch my clients on stage, I'm like hypercritical of them. And I'm like, oh yeah, I don't know if he's going to win this one. And someone will be next to me going, are you serious? Like he's smashing it. So it can sort of go both ways a little bit. And I sort of struggle to like with the emotions attached to it.
But it's also, yeah, but I think it's even like when you're competitive itself, because I remember I'd always have someone with me backstage helping. And I'd drive them mad because I'd be pumping up. They're like, "Oh, Lee, you look great." Or when I was up there, I had Andy Cunningham with me, and that when I won the Australia and that, and he's like, "Oh, Lee, you look fantastic." But then I look over at someone, I'm like, "But fuck, look at him." And Andy goes, "Are you kidding? You look better than him." I'm like, "No, I don't. Look at his fucking arms." And he goes, "Have you seen your arms?" I'm like, because when you're in that zone yourself, you can't, because you see yourself all the time, you can't really see how good you are. It's almost like, no matter how good you are, you can still think, this isn't good enough. So everybody I look at looks better than me. It's
Well,
like,
do you know what I think? I did it when I did Classic. It was back in 2014, I think, at FitX before it became the Arnold's. And I remember getting backstage and there's 13 guys in my division. I just remember looking backstage. I'm like, that guy's harder than me. That guy's bigger than me. That guy's got bigger legs than me. That guy's got this. And I'm like, shit, I'm not going to do too well here. I'm like, if I'm in the top half, I'll be happy. Like, I'll be real happy. Get out on stage and I wasn't even first call out because I actually messed up. And they put this one guy in there that was probably the worst guy in the division. And he was, an older dude. Like, he was in shape, but he's probably, pushing 65 or something. And he was there and I'm just looking and I'm like, he's in the first call out and I'm back here and I'm going, holy shit. And I wanted to walk off stage. I was like, oh, this is terrible. And then all of a sudden I see the judges pointing at me and pointing at this guy and going like that. And then they call me to the front and I'm like, thank God. I'm in the top six. And then I end up winning it. But like, it's so funny how your perception just of like the best and you go, oh, I'm worse than him. I'm like, this guy's got shredded glutes. I don't have shredded glutes. And you sort of take the best of everyone backstage and you go, well, fuck, I'm last. Like, so it's
that's
funny
why
how
no matter what show I did, like people go in the show confident. And I was never one of those guys saying I was going to win a pro show or win the Olympia because I was realistic. I knew I'd never win the Olympia, just politics alone and this and that, or just the great physiques I was up against. So to me, back then, the top 10 always qualified for the following year. So I always just hope to get top 10. People go, how are you going to do, Lee? It's like in those videos, I'll be joking around and Mitch was filming. I'm like, shh, don't talk to me. I'm training for 8th place or something. Because to me, if I got the top 10, I had my heart set on 10. And if I got 8th, 9th, I got the top 6 3 or 4 times, I think it was, 3 or 4 times, I think. So to me, that's as good as winning if I can get the top 6 at the Olympia that many times. So I never was one of these guys where I'm going to win a show. In the other shows like the Ironman, I got second 5 times before I won it. So I'm just like, to me, even getting second's a win. Because, bodybuilding, we've seen it before, even like that time when Flex won and I got second to him and Shawn Ray's like, I think you could beat my boy today. And even Flex comes over and he's like, hey, Lee, I got to give it to you, mate. You're in better shape than me, but because of who I am, I'm going to win. I said,
that's rough.
Honest. I said, well, at least you're honest. So just the thing, bodybuilding is so subjective. So if I ever got second or third, I never took it to heart. Sure, you get less money or something like that, but really, because it's so subjective, like I said, somebody likes that physique to win that day. It doesn't mean you haven't got a great physique or you don't look your best. It's just that that's what they chose that day. That's why that's why I like contests, like when I used to do the drag racing, you cross the line first, you get the best time, you win. There's no, it's not subjective. You win, you win. Or if you're running in a race, you cross the line first, you win. There's none of this, this body, some like the symmetrical, some like the freaky. So I think some guys take it to heart. Yeah, some want to win, but I always figured as long as you busted your ass, I didn't cheat on my diet, I trained hard, I did my cardio, as long as you gave it 100% and you're the best you can be, then, just hold your head high. Just because you don't win a show doesn't mean someone's beddling you or that. That's just on that day. The judges, for some reason, give that person a thing. And we've seen many shows where sometimes the guy that wins isn't always the best one in shape. The guy that's second or third could be in better shape and harder. And you sit there going, how'd that happen? But, it's like one of those things you just,
Yeah, exactly. Now, getting back onto the transformation, now you got Chris Aceto prepping you, which is pretty cool because you've never really had a coach apart from you said you was with Hani Rambod for a small period and you didn't really follow what he said. How is that? I mean, obviously it's a short period of time, but how's it working right now? And do you think you're going to stick at it with Chris, or do you reckon you're going to want to do it yourself?
Well, when he sent it to me, it's so funny because when I got it, I said to Andy, I was talking to Andy Cunningham, and I said, I swear he's been into my books when I was a little kid, because it's almost like when I was 17. I can pretty much tell you what it is now. It's breakfast is like 80 grams of oats, which I don't weigh. I just go, oh, that looks like it. And then 5
Like the Cedric
eggs.
McMillan.
Yeah, and then 5 whole eggs. And then it's like 220 grams of chicken, and I forget how many grams of potato. And then it's steak and a cup of rice and vegetables. Then it's a protein drink, and then it's chicken, I think, and rice again, and then before bed, chicken and potato.
Yeah,
that's it.
Does he change it much, or is that more a thing he does near the end?
That's it now. That's what I'm on now.
Yeah. So Chris is obviously.
I said this is worse than a contest diet. So, like the other day, I had the oatmeal. And I said, oh, fuck it. I went to the cafe where they make nice oatmeal and they put a little bit of apple and blueberries on. Oh, because I can have a banana and apple. So when I went to the cafe, I said, well, they just make the oatmeal in water. I didn't have any milk on it. And they just put the apple and little blueberries, like 4 blueberries. I think, well, that's like having the banana. So, just something different. Yeah. So I figured having that, as long as I stick close to it, and I'm not going off the rails completely. Or sometimes I might, where it says 2 chicken meals, maybe I might have another steak one, and just cut back on the potato. If it says, 100 or 200 grams of potato, I might just have 120. Because I normally go by feel too. If I feel like I'm really down on energy one day, I might add a bit more rice the next day. But then if I feel good the next day, then following one, I might bring the carbs down. So I just pick by how I feel and by the mirror and the scale, because I started at 101. And today I was just teetering on the high 93 into the low 94, back like that. So
wow, so you dropped a lot already.
Yeah, 6 to 7, but the first few kilos of that would have just been water weight and stuff like that. So
yeah, so you started, for those that are in America, that's like 220 pounds, wouldn't it be? Or
something like that.
Yeah, 222 pounds, I think, is 1 kilo. So and then obviously you said you dropped down 6 to 7 kilos, which is probably 13 pounds or 13 and a half pounds or something. So it's a decent amount in 2.5 weeks. But I remember you saying when you used to prep back in the day that you used to literally start your prep and then not even want to eat the food at the start, and that's why you dropped so much. So
I was like that the first week too. I haven't got chicken breast out. I'm still just buying. I went out and brought an air fryer. Greatest investment ever. I always had friends talk about them. I'm like, oh fuck, I'll go get one. So now I just put the chicken breast. I haven't been getting chicken breast because chicken breast, because it's thin here and thick there. The consistency is shit. You cook it too long, it's rubber. I've just been getting lots of chicken tenders, so which is good too, because roughly now the chicken tenders, they come in a packet of 600 grams, and there's like it can only have 200 grams per meal. But I know I've got 3 meals out of that packet. It's easy to count how many tenders are in. Just makes it easy, and plus they don't take long to cook. And for some reason, it just seems easier to eat tenders than sitting down to a shitty chicken breast. And well, the other day too, where it said I could have the rice and vegetables, I cooked that and I just put it in the pan, and I just put in 1 tablespoon of soy sauce and stirred it in. It was just like fried rice.
Oh, soy sauce is the best when you're prepping.
Now you know I'm dieting when I start to fucking think things taste like fried rice.
Yeah, you're getting excited about putting soy sauce in rice. It's like, it's pretty depressing.
I don't really like soy sauce because it's too salty. That's why I only had a little bit just to add the flavor and mixed it in. And because breakfast time, I gave myself 4 eggs instead of 5. That 5th egg I put in the rice and made it like Chinese fried rice. I'm telling my wife, this is just like from the Chinese shop. But I think the first week I didn't eat much. It was hard to eat. Towards the end of the second week, I'm like, I'm fucking hungry now. Can't wait for chicken tenders.
How were you eating before? Were you eating like a pretty structured plan before you started this diet, or is it just sort of like, oh,
no,
like...
I was very like, I'd always have a good breakfast. Like I'd have like eggs and stuff like that, maybe even a muffin and maybe a bowl of cereal. And then later on the day, I'd go and have like the Chinese shop near where my wife works has like a chicken teriyaki bowl to get extra chicken. So it's just chicken teriyaki and that. But then they might have like a little apple tart or something. I'd have that as well. And then maybe later on a couple of hot cross buns with butter. And then I might have steak and rice and then a couple of Golden Gate Time ice creams. So my main meals were still,
every day.
Yeah, my main meals were still roughly okay. It was the little snack bits I have in between.
Yeah.
So it's like generally like my breakfast, lunch and dinner are good. But in between those is where I go and pick it stuff. You know, you go to Woolies, you can't resist when Violet Crumble and Crunchies and Kit Kats are all 90 cents or $1. You got to scoop them up like this. And my wife goes, why you got so many? I said, I just have one a day. I have one every time I go into the fucking kitchen. I go in the kitchen a lot. I'm have another one. And I'm like, why is my waist getting fatter?
That's funny. It's funny because they're always on special in Woolies now. They're always $1 and stuff. I don't know why.
I know. I notice them every freaking day. I go in there and order Easter eggs popping up, and I'm like, oh Jesus, what a time to diet. I had to go walk around Qatar the other day. I was waiting for something, and everywhere I seemed to walk, you know, when you get that diet mode, you just start noticing things more.
Oh yeah.
This new donut shop was there, and it's like 5 donuts for $10, but they're the real big ones and iced ones and shit. And then I'm in Coles, and I'm going down to where I go. I think I just get some non-caffeine, non-sugar Coca-Cola. And as I'm going past down there where they have like the pre-made sandwiches, they got boxes like this big, and some have deli meats and cheese cut up for like picnics in them, like a box. But then the ones beside them had chocolates and marshmallows and snake lollies. It's like a whole box this big, like 10 pounds of fucking candy and chocolate. I'm like, where was that fucking 3 weeks ago?
Well, down at the old Cadbury Factory down in Tassie, they used to have this thing where if you did the tour, you can go through to the shop and buy like this just box of just like chocolates that are like imperfect or whatever. And you never know that there's anything wrong with them, but there's like roses in there. There's all sorts. And it's just like, it's kilograms of chocolates. It's like $29 or something. And I remember like anytime anyone would go there, I'd have this big just box full of just chocolates. And I'm like, and people just had them in their houses. It was just a normal thing down there. But I think they closed that down probably about 5-6 years ago. So you can't do it anymore, unfortunately. But yeah, next time.
It's even like today, now I saw yesterday or today, there's some new fucking McFlurry McDonald's has got out. I'm like, of course you put it out now. It just seems whenever you diet, there's always new shit coming. I remember I used to get ready for the Olympia or any pro show in America, somewhere like McDonald's or any restaurant would have this new fancy deal come out, or there'll be something new on the shelves out by Cadbury, this new chocolate. You're like, oh shit, I can't eat it. It says limited time. I'm like, oh, I'll probably be gone by the time I finish dieting. So I'd always buy one anyway and have it, then just go do another hour of cardio.
Well, that's probably the worst example for some of the young kids out there that are prepping. They're like, oh, I can have a chocolate bar if I do an hour of cardio later. But
I used to, on my cheat days, to tell you how bad it was sometimes, because I lived on Rose Avenue, and, you know, the firehouse was right down this end of Rose. I'd drive down, I'd have the pancakes and whatever, then I'd go home, because Joe God gave me one of those old life fitness Stairmasters. I'd go home and do like 45 on the Stairmaster, and then I say, okay, let's go to the movies now. I'll go to the movies. While I'm at the movies, I'd have popcorn, choc top ice cream, this and that, come out, have a meal, go home, hour on the stepper. I finished an hour on the stepper. I'd go out again and have another meal, come home, an hour on the stepper. By the end of the day, I sometimes done 5 hours on the stepper. So I was eating all this shit food, but then I was getting on the stepper. So by the end of the day, I'm like this. I'm just like so fucking tired and fucked from doing so much cardio. It's like,
and plus your insulin and like stuff would have been going through, you know, through the roof, and you're fluctuating.
Yeah,
and all
like I was talking
foods.
to Mike O'Hearn today too. It's funny though too, because I was talking to Mike O'Hearn earlier, And it's funny because let's just say back then I was dieting on 3,500 calories. I couldn't wait for the cheat day to come because I'm like, I know I'm going to cheat all day. And I'm thinking, I'm going to eat this, I'm going to eat that. So my first meal might be, I go to IHOP and have the pancakes and a steak and that. But then because, you know, when you've been eating clean for so long, you've been having fats, you suddenly have that and your stomach just goes, and you get that full on bloated. I'm like, fuck, I can't eat for a while now. So like almost 4 hours, 5 hours goes past. I'm like, I can eat. So then I go eat something like Kentucky and now I'm bloated again. I'm like, oh, I can't eat. And then by the end of the day, I'm like, the day's almost over and I've hardly eaten anything. So normally on my cheat day, I might only eat 2,000, 2,500 compared to when I'm dieting, I'm eating 3,500 because you've eaten these fatty, sugary foods. Your guts just fill up with gas and air and you feel so bloated. All these foods you thought you could eat, you couldn't get in. You're like, oh no, it's almost time to go to bed. What else can I shove in before I go to bed?
Yeah, I used to do stuff like that. I remember one prep, I was, this is when I think I had a girlfriend at the time, but she was away or something. And I was just having a cheat meal when I went out with some burgers for some mates. And then I came home and I'm like, oh, I'm going to have, you know, this and that. And I was actually taking Prami at the time and I'd never used it until just recently before that. Maybe I started a week or two before because I couldn't get like Cabo or anything like that. And I remember taking it and it would always make me go to sleep like really aggressively. Like all of a sudden I'd just be asleep, like just out. And then I'd have these like night terrors. It was like, yeah, I don't know, it didn't work very well for me, but I would go to sleep. So I had one of those lint balls and I put it in my mouth and I'm like, cool. And I wouldn't just like bite them down, but I just fall asleep. So I fell asleep and it all just leaked out of my mouth and just looked like someone shit all over my pillow. And then I was like, oh my God. I'm like, oh, it's disgusting. Wiped it off. I'm like, whatever. And then I'm like, fuck, I'll have another one. Did the exact same thing again, just looked like someone shit on my pillow, my bed again. I'm just like, fuck. And I just gave up, went and slept in the other bed because I was like, there's chocolate everywhere. But yeah, it's like I felt like I had to force it in, even though I was so tired. But I'm just like, you know, I felt like I was missing out otherwise.
You want to, when I was like, before I started this diet on the Sunday, before I started it, there's this bakery down near Coles. So I go in there, you know, I'm a little bit hungry. So I'm like, yeah, I'll have a custard tart. I'll have the apple pie. I'll have the caramel tart. I'll have the finger bun there. I'll have a meat pie, a sausage roll, and this. And the lady's looking at me. I said, and then I'll have the apple turnover, and then a Neenish tart. That's the one, you know, the half pink, half chocolate.
Favorite.
Oh, I love them. And they make the best ones, big ones with big icing. I said to the lady, I said, you can tell I'm starting my diet tomorrow, can't you? I said, I don't know if I'll even eat it all, but I'd rather have it there in case I can't. And this is what happened. The Sunday night after I had, I think we had McDonald's or Chinese, so I was sort of full, and I go to the fridge, and my wife's like, "You still got the apple pie and custard tart and this and that." You know, I'm like, "Oh shit, I do." I'm like, "But I'm so full." So I got the garbage. I took the lid off the garbage. I got the apple pie out. 1, 2 big bites, threw it in the bin. Custard tart, 1, 2 bites, threw it in the bin.
I've done the same shit.
I've just taken bites out of everything so I could taste it and throw it in the bin. And then I woke up about, would have been to take a piss about 11 o'clock. I'm like, well, the day's not really over. I could go back to the bin and just get allowed to have one more bite.
Wow, that's bad. That's bad. I've done similar sorts of things. Like I went to there's a place over here. I don't know if it's in Sydney or not, but it's called San Churro. They may do churros and all this desserts and stuff like that.
Nice. We have one like that here, but it's a coffee shop, and they do the churros like the covered in sugar. You can dip them in chocolate and all that.
Yeah, same sort of thing.
Is that similar? Yeah.
Yeah. So we got all that, but then we got all different desserts, brownies, macaroons, all that sort of stuff. Oh. And I went up and I said to my girlfriend at the time, I said, "Oh, I'll order. What do you want?" And she told me 1 or 2 things. I was like, "Cool, I'll get that." And I'm still deciding, go find a seat and I'll bring it over. And I ordered, and then I just kept ordering heaps of different things. And I was probably going to spend normally like $25 or something like that. I spent $89 and I went, fuck, that was just on dessert. And then I'll go over to her and she goes, "Oh, what did you end up getting?" I'm like, "Everything." And she's like, "No, but what did you get?" And I'm like, "Everything." And then like all the stuff started to come out. And I feel like an idiot because they're bringing so much stuff out that I'm like, yeah, this is just for us too. Like, and it was ridiculous. I took some at home and I felt bad, but I spent so much. So I tried to force it down. And then I was just on the couch, just in pain. So I'm like, it's not worth it. But
I don't know what that, but you can't help yourself. It's like, I don't know what that's like. But the place I go here and get the churros, it's like it's almost like it's almost like Cadbury's chocolate, but it's so fucking rich. When you're having it, you're like, oh my God, this is so rich. The chocolate, you're dipping them in and eating it. Then when you stick it.
Yeah, it gets bad. But today we've got a whole heap of listener questions as well, so we'll get on to those soon. But I've got a couple of questions for you first. Now, did you see on the weekend the 212 bodybuilder? He won and qualified for Mr Olympia. His name's Ping Yun Long. Did you get to see him at all?
No, I didn't. I think I might have seen. Is he the one that some people have been posting pictures of him before the show, like doing a lat spread type thing?
Yeah, he's got insane small waist. He's got like really big
good
legs.
Quads, really good legs and that. Yeah, I think I've seen photos of him. Yeah, looks
I'll
very
bring up a photo.
compact. Yeah, he looks very compact. If it's the same one I'm thinking of.
Yeah, I want to get your opinion on him because some of the photos look absolutely insane, but sort of blow me away. And then other ones, I'm like, oh,
What's
yeah.
his name? King.
King
I'm gathering he's
Long.
not Europe. I'm gathering he's not European with that name.
No, he's not. He's definitely of Asian descent. But can you see him here now?
Yep. Yeah.
So what do you think of that sort of physique, and how do you think that will match up at the 212 Olympia potentially? I'll show you some more photos too.
Well, I think, look, we're going by those pictures. Yeah, it's always different, when you see him side by side with somebody. But, just looking at that alone, he's got the round, full muscle bellies. He's got nice shape in all the muscles. Plus, yeah, that's the one I've seen. Yeah, that one. Yeah. I said, look at him there. Like I said, his shoulders, arms, quads, and that. I could easily see him, that, especially his conditioning, that conditioning's, that's what's going to be. Look, tiny waist, quads. I said, he's got it all. So I love to see him on stage with it. But going by those pictures there in his contest picture, yeah, so like I said, it's hard to say till he's in the lineup, but I could see him in the top 5 looking like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought the same thing. And I thought, am I being irrational? Because he's got just some of the most probably insane legs in the pro league straight away.
I was going to say, like his calves and quads are very similar shape in that Flex Lewis.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got that real round sort of bubbliness to them, which I always like to see. And I think like some of those Asian guys with their legs, it's just absolutely insane. But I just want to get your opinion to see sort of where you think he'd sort of match up. I think his back maybe isn't quite to the level of like a Derek Lunsford or something, but he's still got those quads you can see from the back. And, obviously Delta.
And that's the thing too, when always people say shows are won from the back. And I hate that, when Ronnie and Dorian, yes, but now it's like, let's just say we have somebody who has a great back and glutes. Okay, there's a rear double bicep and a rear lat spread. Now look at this guy. If he's in his front double bicep, front lat spread, side chest, side tricep, ab shot. If you're beating the guy who has a great back in all those other shots, why is it show one from the back when you're only better than me in 2 shots and I beat you in every other shot? So
yeah,
these whole shows are one from the back. I think they need to get away from that because they put too much emphasis on, but look at his back. Yeah, but he's shit from the front. And we see more of the front and side poses than we do the back.
I think the thing is that people are like, they're so close. And they see him standing in the front relaxed all the time. They see the front double. They see the front lat spread. And then they're like, it's so close. And they turn to the back and it was like, that's why Ronnie Coleman won or something like that.
Yeah, but what about when it's not close at the front? Like someone kills somebody from the front, but then when they turn to the back, he's like, he's got a better back. Yeah, but he's shit from the front. So it's like... Yeah.
Well, look at Justin Rodriguez. He has one of the best back double biceps in the pro league right now. And, if it's one from the back, then he should be, top 2, top 3 in the Olympia,
Yeah. So. I think they just try and use that on some people and not others. It all depends who you are, whether winning from the back gives you the upper hand over somebody or not. Like I said, I can understand if it was really super close. If they're matching up on every other shot, fine. But, if you're beating everybody on your side shots and front shots, but he just beats you on the back, I don't think he should beat you overall. And if it's going to be judged overall, and I said he's got nice symmetry, that guy too. So it's got the tiny waist, his legs, and then his shoulders, and even there in shape, he's still got he doesn't look like he's over died. He's still got nice full shoulders and arms, and he might even just put on something like that. Well, how tall is he? Like 5'4", 5'5", is he?
I'm not sure. I'm assuming he's probably around that height because obviously he's quite thickly muscled.
Someone that height, you just give him even 2-3 pounds extra muscle. It looks gigantic on them. So
sure, and he's got the structure obviously to hold it as well. So yeah, I'm super impressed by this dude. So should be good once he gets to that Olympia stage.
I hope he gets a fair share too. Because sometimes, when we talk about the Lunsfords and everybody else, then someone new comes along and it's almost like, I don't want to say pay your dues bullshit and stuff, but it's like, if someone comes along and they look great, you can see they look great. Give them what they deserve. Don't play, okay, this is his debut. Next year we'll move him up. No, if he looks good on the day, he should place where he should place.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think maybe a small part of it. I don't know. I want to get your opinion on this. Like when I see someone, like when I saw, like, I'm trying to think of an example, when like Rolly Winkler showed up and he looked phenomenal at the Olympia, all of a sudden he had all that extra size. I'm watching it and I had it on silent and I was thinking to myself, I'm like, is he way better, or am I just like, am I imagining this? And you're like, you sort of questioning yourself in your head. And obviously being a judge, you're probably like, oh wait, are we going to put him up that many spots? Like, is he that much better? Are we going to do that? And then people are going to be like, what the hell are these judges doing? Why do they put Rolly in third or something like that? But I think sometimes you doubt yourself when you first think, this dude's way better all of a sudden. Like I remember William Bonac when he competed in Australia against Shawn Ray, and that's when William Bonac, that was his first show where he really broke out into the open scene. Yeah. And I was sitting there watching it. I'm like, I could have William beating Shawn Roden, but Shawn's third in the Olympia. That can't be right. No, Shawn Roden will win this. And Shawn Roden did win, but I was like, if William Bonac won, I wouldn't have complained. And
well, that's the thing too. I think sometimes judges get along those lines because they think this guy's placed here in the Olympia. This guy hasn't done the Olympia before. Is it right to put him over? But it's like, hey, we can all see on any given day who's the best man on the day. And if you have seasoned competitors up there, but then an unknown comes from Europe or Asia or somewhere, and they're in that lineup, you can see with your own eyes how good they are. And if they happen to be better than the guys who have been doing it for 5 or 6 years, the seasoned pros, give him what he deserves. If he should be in there, put him in there. You know, don't be like, well, these are been in the Olympia before. We can't throw this guy in who's never done the Olympia. Why not? If he's better on the day, he's better on the day. Simple as that.
Exactly. Now, something I was thinking about just recently, I was thinking about if, Flex Lewis, Shawn Ray, it's been discussed before, obviously yourself and like Derek Lunsford, if the best versions of all of you, just take yourself out of it for a second, I guess. Flex Lewis, Shawn Ray, Derek Lunsford, how do you think that would play out all at their best? So obviously Derek Lunsford at the last Olympia, that was his best of all time so far. Shawn Ray, you can sort of weigh up which you think was the best. And then obviously Flex Lewis. And Flex Lewis is a tough one for me because it's like, we've never seen him, we know he can be better as well, but based on what we've seen.
See, I really like Flex Lewis's because, like I said, he's got the round muscles. Like Shawn Ray, like I said, looked great. I think it was like 96 and some of those, he looked fantastic. And I think one of them, he should have won the Olympia. But Shawn's like, he's got the pretty physique, you'd say pretty and great conditioning, but yet Flex Lewis seems to have that cartoon, like 3D, like similar that I had, like almost like an action figure where I wouldn't say Shawn's 2D, but yet he just looks, I don't know, it just looks more popping. Your eyes would be drawn because they're two different types, whereas Shawn looks the more aesthetic, whereas Flex looks the freakier, but yet he's still got the small waist and the bulging muscles. So again, that'd have to come down to judges' preference. And sadly, people said I should have beat Shawn at some shows, but yet because Shawn was this seasoned pro and I was just a new young guy on the scene, it's like, well, we can't really do that. He's been in the Olympia this many times and got second in the Olympia. We can't have someone come along and place ahead of him. But I said it just comes down to preference. But overall, like Derek Lunsford is great too, but it's still my personal opinion. I like Flex Lewis's physique from head to toe over those two, but it would be a great contest. And like I said, people always compare me to Flex Lewis at our best and that, Flex, like I said, turned to the back. He'd have a better back than me. Like, when I did the Universe, that's probably the best my back and glutes have looked and stuff because back in the day, I was never focused on glutes. People started talking about glutes when Ronnie suddenly brought his in, but I'd always make the thing. It's like when I got the magazines in my day, I was like, fuck, look at Tom Platz's legs. I want legs like that, or I want arms like Eddie Robinson. And I just wanted all these freaky body parts, Matarazzo's calves or his arms. It was never like, I never picked up a magazine and said, oh, look at the glutes. I want to have the best ass in bodybuilding, because to me, it's like, who gives a shit about your ass? It's like my posing trunks covered it. It wasn't like one of those things I was ever focused on training or getting in shape. It's like hamstrings, yes. Calves, yes. Quads, yes. Arms, shoulders, yes. The ass to me is like, when you're walking down the street, you can have the best ripped glutes in the world, but your arms are what hang out of your sleeves that people are going to look at. They're not going to go, ooh, nice buns.
It always became the marker for conditioning. Like at some point, a few guys brought in shredded glutes, and then they're like, wow, if he's got shredded glutes, he's shredded no matter what the rest of his physique looks like. And now it's funny. I don't know if people train more specifically for it, or they take more aromatase inhibitors, or what they do, but it seems like more people get the shredded glutes, even though conditioning over the whole physique doesn't appear to be necessarily better. So it's strange.
I know the girls do, because shit, some days in the morning you can't get on the leg equipment at the gym because I see the same girls doing glutes and legs every fucking second day on the hip thrusting, taking up all the squat racks on the fucking this, on that. I'm like, Jesus Christ, women, go train another fucking body part for God's sakes.
Wellness and bikini, especially wellness, they pretty much, you know, they obviously smash legs and glutes and all that sort of stuff. So that's why like it's actually surprising now. The gym I train at now over in Perth, they're called Revo or whatever it's called, and they've got heaps of them around, and they always have a lot of squat racks. They're almost always all taken. And I'm like, back in the day, it was the opposite of that. Is people just didn't want to train legs because they were scared of it. Now, like it's all the girls want the big.
No one's squatting. They're all doing hip thrust, and now they've got that actual booty machine, the butt machine. And when I see guys on that, I just shake my head in shame. I'm like, really?
Lee, I got what I deserved. I got bulging discs in my back, and it was actually caused by the pressure of doing that. I remember seeing Andrew Locke. I don't know if you know Andrew from down in Victoria. And he was basically saying why your discs can bulge from doing, you know, heavy hip thrusts and stuff. And I did it on a machine. It wasn't heavy. But I remember getting off there and going, oh, my back feels funny. And about 3 days later, my back just went and I was just like
I reckon there's going to be a lot of back problems in years to come, because this fad's only been going, 2 years roughly with the hip thrust type thing. And I've seen young girls who probably weigh 150 pounds tops, and they've got the Olympic bar with 420s each side going bang, bang. I'm like, you don't put that much effort in when you're having a root. So what the fuck are you doing here? It's like, Jesus. It's like,
yeah. And for, you know, for US people, that when Lee says 20 means 20 kilos, so like basically 45 plates. So it's a lot. And I've seen the same thing, man. Like, and I see him post it up and I'm like, there's no way I could do that. Like, there's no way, like 4 plates aside. But obviously women have the stronger glutes and stuff, but progressing to that level and putting that on your hips.
The thing is, I was like, what happened to, like you said, squatting? You could do squatting, you could do leg presses, even with your legs up high and feet turned out. You could do just lunges. There's so many things that work your glutes and hammies that are tested time and true that now everyone's, oh, there's a new thing. And then the fucking booty bands. It's like, oh, we've got to have a booty band and go sideways this way, have the booty band on while I'm thrusting, have the booty band on while I'm squatting. I'm like, oh, fucking hell. It's like people just see these fad things and they all gravitate towards it. I'm just like, you know, one of the best things I found for hammies, and that was, you get the Smith machine, right? You hop under the Smith machine. So like say you're standing directly under it, move your feet probably a foot back, or a foot and a half back. So now your shoulders are under, but your feet are back here. So you're sort of leaning like that, and you just lift one leg up and you just come down on one leg. So the leg you're holding up sort of goes back behind you. So it's almost like you're doing a lunge type thing on one leg, and that'll hit your glutes and hammies harder than anything out there. Yeah, you know, and that's been around forever. So I just don't, like I said, it's just the fad that all these girls get into. And now it's like, I noticed another thing at the gym now. I was showing the guy today, because I was being like the girls there, and first I'm going like this when I'm training today. I'll get my shirt. I'm like, how do I, because this is the latest thing I like at the gym. Say, this is their pants. They have all the scrunch bum. Even if they got fat asses, for some reason, they get their shirt and they tuck it up into their bra top. So they're walking around showing their ass like this. I'm like, why you tuck your shirt up here for? Just let it hang down. Cover that fucking ass. But no, they got to tuck it up like this so you can see it. It's like, fuck off.
Those scrunch pants are so deceiving. I think it makes even like more voluptuous girls that maybe don't have the best asses. It makes them just look like way better than they are. I guarantee some guys would have dated girls and gone, oh, she's got a great ass, and then they discover maybe not so much later.
I explained it before. It's like when you make jelly or Jello in America, and you put it in the mold and it's in the fridge. It's so firm, but then you take it out the mold on the plate and it goes. That's like when they take their gym pants off. So I said, what you got to do is, if you know it's like that, because sometimes when they wear black you can't see, but if it's light colors you can see all the hail damage. Just keep their pants on, and when you get them home, just cut the crotch. Say, leave them on. We'll just cut the crotch out. That way it keeps everything in still.
Keeps everything perfect and tight.
Unless it spills out the crotch like a fucking busted sausage on the barbecue.
That's such a bad visual. Oh man, how did we go from talking about who would win the 212 of Olympia?
I have no idea. The busted sausages on barbecue spitting at you.
It's funny, but we have some I don't even know if that's Aussie slang, to be honest. I should probably know, but we have some funny slang here, and like saying it to like Tara, I'll say that she's Kiwi. I'll say certain things. She's like, what does that mean? Like, what is that? I'll be like, oh, it means this. Don't you know that? It's like, no. I'm like, oh, okay, it's an Aussie thing. You just don't even realize some of these sayings are just.
Well, even in America, sometimes I'll be like, see you in a fortnight. They're like, what? A fortnight? What's that? They're like 2 weeks. Oh, is it? Little things like that we take for granted. You say it over there, they have no idea what you're talking about.
I did the same thing. I said, can I get this? Like, because I got this huge meal, and they do. This is in Hawaii, and it's like they give me 2 chicken breasts on a plate.
Mm-hmm.
Like they were chopped, but they were still pretty big, with rice, and it was like basically 2 meals worth. And I said, oh, can I get this takeaway? And the woman just looked at me like I was like saying something in like Mandarin or something.
Mm-hmm.
She's just like staring. I'm like, takeaway? Like, can I just didn't know what to say. I was like, should have said, can you put it in a box and I can take it? But then I said, oh, can I get it takeout? And then I was like, just guessed it. She's like, oh yeah, takeout. Yeah, of course. And I'm just like, I don't know how you can't understand what takeaway is. It's pretty self-explanatory, but we just take that for granted and say it like normal. So, but anyway, where do you put yourself in that, I suppose, group of guys between Flex Lewis, Shawn Ray, Derek Lunsford, or you just have no idea how it would sort of play out?
I have no idea. It'd be a good show. So whatever the judges, it's like I could sit here and go, oh, I would win. But I think it'd be great to see all of us at our best. It'd be a great thing. And the thing is, too, it's like if I knew I had to compete against guys like that, I probably would focus more on my back and stuff and shit like that. But to me, back then, I was just training. I never really focused on bringing anything up. I just trained hard, and whatever came up, came up. But if I knew you're going up against guys like that, I might have enlisted the types like Charles Glass to focus more on, different movements to hit little muscles more. So, it's hard to say. Flex could probably win. Shawn would probably win. Derek is like, I wouldn't, out of us four, in all of us at our best shape, I wouldn't be upset no matter who won or where somebody placed, because it'd just be, we've all got, probably Flex and I would probably be the closest in body types and that, but, it'd just be, a preference really, wouldn't it? You could just be that little bit off and he beat you, and next week you beat him. So it'd just be one of those.
Yeah, for sure. And like you mentioned as well, you and Flex have more of that cartoony type physique. And I think Flex, if he took that weight cap off, he'd probably be a bit more cartoony than he has been in the 212. But
you're saying I look like Bugs Bunny, fucker? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, something like that. Elmer Fudd or something. Yeah, it was like Ed Connor said it as well, who obviously was, the owner of Gold's Gym for many years. He said you were the freakiest guy he'd basically ever seen, or something along those lines. And
I was surprised he said that. I was trying to find it again the other day, because I know when Ronnie said he hated being beat by me, and Jay said this, I try and save all those little clips. And I remember, was that on your podcast, or what podcast was it on where he said that? Somebody was talking to Ed, and they said that
mine or Dave's, I think, because I remember seeing that.
Yeah, and they said to Ed, who's the freakiest you've ever seen? I'm just waiting to hear, because I'm thinking, well, Mike Matarazzo was there a lot, and everyone's been through Gold's Gym. And when he goes, Lee Priest, I'm like, oh, that's a big endorsement there, because Ed had seen everybody. So
And Jay Cutler said it's a similar sorts of thing. And I can tell why, because I remember seeing you in person. Like, obviously, I don't think I did. You were maybe the first pro that I actually seen. I can't remember. And I remember being freaked out, like your forearms just like in a t-shirt. You're wearing like a blue sort of tightish sort of t-shirt, but not too tight.
But you even remember the color. I must have made an impression.
Well, we had a photo together, and I had a big mop of hair, and I looked ridiculous. But I remember looking at that photo so many times. You're doing like the thumbs up or whatever like that, and just looking at your forearm and just going like, what the how does that even work? Like, it's just like mind-boggling to someone who's never seen a pro before as well. And that cartoony sort of look and that sort of freakiness in a different way to what like a Ronnie Coleman was. Ronnie Coleman was just like huge amount of mass and like hanging back and stuff like that. But yours was very different. You have the freaky, insane forearms and arms and stuff like that. And that's what I was always sort of drawn to, because I think you're always drawn to, even though I'm not similar, but when I was younger, I was like, oh, my arms are half decent, the rest of me shit, but at least I had some half decent arms. I'm like, so I always like look for people with good arms and be like, oh, that's cool as, So it was something cool to sort of.
It's always good to have good arms. It's like, because you can't hide them. And now it's like, as I get older, I've been lucky this arm's still 21 pumped, and the badder one's still okay. But it's like, even if they get bad, my forearms are still good. So I figured, as I get older in life now, I'm just going to wear cargo shorts and train calves, and train forearms. So as long as my shirts come to here and all you can see is my forearms and calves, people go, "Oh fuck, look at him. He still looks pretty good." Everything else is shit because it's covered up. But as long as they see your forearms and calves, they go, "Oh, he must look pretty good under there." But you don't.
Yeah, and it's funny because obviously, like, you're not like a huge, tall, wide, super wide guy or anything, but like when you're on stage, you just literally, like, you know, it's like crazy. You look like absolutely insane. You look
just like what's his name, Sean Clarita. You see him in clothes, you think, "Oh, you're tiny."
Yeah.
You know, gets on stage and takes his clothes off. You're like, "Oh fuck," you know. But even Chris used to say that to me because every time I got ready for a show, I just wear the baggiest clothes I could, like just black tracksuit pants or that real black thin material and a big baggy t-shirt. And I'd just pump up, and then I'd go into the toilet, take it off, put the oil on, put it back on, and come out and just start pumping up again. And people, "Oh, Lee over there." And then as soon as I would take it off and the muscles were full and the veins, Chris then would always be like, "Where the fuck did that come from?" It's like, what the fuck? It's like, where'd you put that muscle from? You know, so I said,
But
generally I always thought, you know, the guys, it's like anything, the guys that look really big in clothes, sometimes when they take it off, you're like disappointed. The ones who sometimes look small and they get off and they're in shape, you're like, holy shit, you know. It's like, you know, it's almost like with the fighters in the bar, the big loudmouth guy screaming at the bar, he's like, "Yeah, whatever." It's that quiet guy that sits there. If you piss him off too much, it's like, bang, "Oh fuck, where'd that come from?" It's always the quiet one.
You lived with Paul Dillette for a while, and he was an absolute mass monster. I don't know what he was like in person.
He actually, when he split from his wife, he come to stay with me for 8 months.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So it was fun. And then we were prepping for the 98, the 98 Olympia. We were prepping at my place together and stuff. So
that's cool.
Yeah, it was fun.
How did you go? Like, if you guys, did you go out much in public together? Like, what was the reaction like in public? People just
Maybe
like,
just down into the firehouse, generally just to have meals down the firehouse, or over to Kookaroo, another place. And sometimes the Jerry's Deli, people just look at us, they're like, "Oh, it's like the thing." But even Paul used to say, he goes, "Lee, he goes, if you were my height," they always say you add 10 pound per inch. He goes, "If you were my height, you'd be the biggest fucking bodybuilder out there."
Yeah, because you were super thick. Like, you really weren't missing anything. You had legs, like calves, you had forearms, like you had
and people always say my chest was down. With, you know, some photos I can stand there relaxed in, and shots of my chest is nice and full and looks normal. But yet sometimes when I'm in the contest shape and I suddenly do this, because the delts and arms came up, the chest just sort of looked really small because the arms out here on each side and that. So, you know, some body parts looked overshadowed because of having the big arms and delts and that. But yeah, sort of overall, I thought I was pretty well balanced. So it wasn't, like I said, parts like back and that could have been a bit better and stuff. But hey, I was happy with what I did with what I had at the time, competing. Like I said, when I'm competing against people like Paul Dillette, Kevin Leverone, Shawn Ray, Chris Cormier, Flex Wheeler, who else was Dorian Yates for a while, Nasser El Somebody. Well, you know, when you're competing against guys like that, and I'm getting seconds or thirds and stuff like that, a lot of the shows, I was to me that was a win to me. So, you know.
Absolutely. I'm trying to find a photo. I was looking through your Instagram earlier, and it was a back double bicep, and I was like, wow, that's impressive. Like, it was slightly from the side. Do you remember the one?
Not really. I try to avoid looking at them because it's too depressing, because when I look in the mirror now, it just doesn't quite look the same. Everyone sends me videos or tags me in videos. They're like, "Oh, Lee, I love this video. Thanks for the inspiration." I click on it and I write back and I go, "Oh, thanks for fucking depressing me." I sit there and I go, "Oh yeah, I remember that. That was only fucking 2001, fucking 21 years ago, or even earlier." I'm like, "Oh shit."
That's so funny. I'm trying to find, I found the bottom half of that photo, where it has like your hammies and glutes stuff in there, but I couldn't find that other one that I was looking for. But you post a lot of photos, Lee. Like, how many, like, is that your goal with social media? Like, to sort of just put out as much content as possible, or do you just post whatever you feel like?
I just post things I find, or a lot of other sites will post stuff and I haven't seen the photo for a long time. There's that, is it Lee Priest Reality? They've been posting a lot of stuff from my reality DVDs, and because it was like, it's been taken from the DVDs, and so I haven't actually seen them as photos. It's just off a DVD that we did for 2 years. So a lot of times I see them and I just post them up. That was my first photo shoot back there at Gold's Gym.
Which one was that one?
Go back up. I got the blue leotard on. Go back up.
There.
Yeah, there with the hat on.
How old were you there?
That's 20, just turned 20.
You don't see that from 20-year-olds really these days, hey?
That was Irvin Gelb. Oh, there I am. Go down there. My first contest. That's just before my first contest there at my friend's gym. I just turned 13. Oh my God! What, he looks like a greyhound. Look at him.
That's pretty impressive. Like, you don't really think about it, but for the age, like, you're looking at your triceps and your abs and all that sort of stuff. There's not many like 12, 13-year-olds that have that, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So we sort of look at it now and go, oh, wow. But like,
that's my first contest there. That was 13 at the contest.
That's probably somewhat similar to what I look like in my first contest, like 17 or 18. So that's rough. Here's the legs from the photo I was talking about. Oh, it was a lat spread, I think.
That was the Universe in 2013 when I made my comeback after 7 years off.
That was your best condition of all time, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so. And that was my legs leading up to it before.
Very, very impressive. And for people that haven't seen you obviously before in your off season from the past, you used to get absolutely massive. Now, obviously you haven't started.
Hey, look at that.
What year was that one? Not this one, but
that would have been America. That would have been early 2000-ish maybe, or maybe even earlier. That was at Fours Gym in Brisbane. I came out to do a seminar with Andy and that.
This contest here.
People always look at my bulked up picture and they look at them ones now and go, that's not the same person.
Yeah. It's funny because that contest there, that actual posing routine video, I remember back in the day when this is when I was just sort of first getting into bodybuilding. I was maybe like 16 or something like that, 15 or something. And I remember downloading that video. I typed in all these bodybuilders' names on, what was it? Would have been one of those like LimeWire or Napster or something like that. And I typed in the names and I typed in Lee Priest and I downloaded, it said something posing routine or whatever. And that's the video I downloaded, that posing routine there. And I watched that. It goes for it went for a minute something, I think, the video. And I watched that so many times. I can't even explain to you. Like, I watched it probably 200 times or something. And I watched it before I train and all that sort of stuff. What show was that actually?
The Iron Man. One of the Iron Man.
It was incredible. That look, I reckon that has to be probably one of your best.
What song was it then? What song did I use? It would have been a love song, some sort of love song, wouldn't it?
I don't even know about one. It's probably been 15 years since I've
would have been like Julio Iglesias, one of them or something, or one of those songs.
Did you normally post that sort of stuff?
No, I just preferred, if I guest posed, I might have used a song that was more, you can just pick a beat and go boom, boom, boom on every second or third beat. But I preferred songs that sort of, songs I liked that had more feeling that you could flow with and stuff. Sure, it's like when Shawn Ray or Bob Paris or someone would post, you could get the big guys like Matarazzo come out and just do the big freaky shots. The crowd goes nuts. But I prefer to do routines where you can almost hold the audience in the palm of your hand, where they're just like, oh, wow, look at that. You're moving graceful to the music, hitting the shots and shit. Yeah. But you just got him looking like, wow, just, it's like when Phil Hill posed the Phantom of the Opera that time at the 98 Olympia, this massive guy, Phil Hill, and he's posing and does the splits, the music of the night. It was just so graceful. The crowd's just like, oh my God, look at that, so.
Yeah, I used to love posing routines like that. I remember Dennis Wolf even did a routine at the Arnold Classic in one of his last ones where he's quite big, still not the comeback he made. And he got best poser, and it was actually, you could tell he put so much more effort into that routine than the previous ones. And the whole thing was graceful and was just sort of captivated you. And I think when you can pose to slow music and actually captivate people, that I think says a lot about your physique, but also about your posing as well. So I think it's cool when you can see people pull that off, but when people pose really slow and they're not great at posing, it just bores me to hell.
I'm going to say it's a fine line between captivating and boring. You got to know when that, where if you do get to that point, that's when you can have half and half, do the slow bit to begin with and then go into the bang, big poses at the end just to get the crowd going, or vice versa, start off like that and then transition into something slow. Because there are songs too that people like, but that can be like start off slow, but they really build up and you sort of, you can feel it when you're watching it. If you're watching a singer, it's like, did you watch Shane Warne's Memorial and that?
Yeah.
Like even that Anthony Calais singing The Prayer and stuff, those sort of songs like that really move you and it just sort of builds up and stuff. And if you can get someone where the song moves you and then you can pose gracefully to that and build up the poses where if the audience is being moved by the music and you're going into one of your famous poses, it's just like, oh my God,
Yeah, exactly. I want to pull up Melvin Anthony, because he was one of those guys that did what you said.
Yeah.
He posed graceful, and then he would go into
Then you
the
go into the pop locking, and yeah.
I used to love that. I remember seeing that in person at the Australian Pro when he came out, and that was the thing I was most excited for at that contest. So you weren't doing
and
that
one. And he was really good at it too, because people liked him doing the pop locking. So he would always just give you enough of the slow stuff where you're like, oh, okay, we're getting a bit bored here. And all of a sudden, boom, he'd go into the pop locking type stuff. So yeah,
I think he's
really good.
Probably underrated. Like everyone says, oh, he's a great poser, but I think he's sort of underrated, and people couple him with the other guys that I guess used to pop lock, like Darren Charles and stuff like that. But I think Melvin was sort of another level, like he would do.
And I think Melvin did it the best. Chris would do a little bit of that sort of stuff too, and then King Kamali did a little bit, and there was a few others. But I think Melvin did it the best, because John Brown really taught him how to pose really well and stuff. So that's really good. And then he'd do that where he's leaning right back type thing and that.
Oh yeah, I don't know how he did that. I remember I watched that, and
I always used to think, I hope there's no oil on the floor in his lips.
Yeah, I literally tried to do it. There he goes, does all the pop locking stuff, but he's actually amazing at it as well. But I remember this year it is. I tried to actually do this once. I'm like, I wonder how hard that is. But he goes right down, and I tried to do it, and I literally just almost hurt myself doing it. But stuff like that, how he just shakes his legs and does it so seamlessly, I reckon that's pretty incredible. But let's get,
like I said, he had a great physique too, like symmetry wise and conditioning. And like I said, I hate comparing bodybuilders now to them, but I don't know, physiques just look different then. It's like I was saying to Dave once, I'm not sure whether it was because we competed more and because we dieted more and did stuff, we knew our bodies a bit better than, like I said, face it, if you're only doing one show a year, it's really hard to learn what's going to work for you. You got to wait to that show, and that's when you got to do whatever loading, drugs, diuretics, just for that one show. And if you miss it, you're like, oh fuck, okay, I've got to wait for the Olympia next year to do it again. So it's like, if you do a couple of shows at the beginning of the year and at the end of the year, people go, and now people say, well, that's unhealthy, Lee, taking drugs for the contest. I'm like, is it really? Because I always found contest time I used like less drugs, or the smaller amount, like where it'd be a little bit of stanozol, a little bit of test, and one Donabol a day, and then change it to one Anadrol a day to stay full and stuff. I was like, but you got to remember, yes, you're taking steroids contest time. Yes, you're taking them off season, and sometimes guys take a lot in the off season too. But the difference is contest time, when you're taking them, you're training probably once or twice a day. You're doing cardio. You're at a lighter body weight. You're eating healthy food. So even though you're taking the gear overall, because you're doing cardio and training more and you're more active and eating healthy food, it's probably better for you than, competing once a year. You're walking around 280, 300 pounds, pumping all the shit food in. You're fucking just bloated. And, bodybuilders in the off season, the majority of them, if they're not at the gym, they're just at home like this.
Yeah.
You want to go out? No, I don't want to go out. Why not? I'll burn muscle. I just got to sit here and have another meal, watch TV, have another shake, take some more gear, go to bed, get up. Oh, I got to go to the gym, come home from the gym, start eating, forcing all the food in. It's like, it's probably more unhealthy than fucking competing a couple of times a year, because if you bulked up the 300 pounds for 8 months of the year, pumping all the gear and food in, that's probably worse on you than fucking dieting for a couple of shows. At least dieting, you are eating clean. You are doing the cardio, so you're getting a lot of cardio in to help your heart and shit. Plus, you're using a little bit of gear. So it's like, it's like which is healthier, which isn't. So I think guys should I've always said pros should at least have to compete 2 or 3 times a year. Come on, it's like, what other sport do they do one show a year? It's like, imagine boxers just doing one fight a year. My God, or tennis players or a sports team. We won the Super Bowl this year, so we don't have to do anything till next year. We'll see you all at the Super Bowl. Come meet us then. Or tennis players. Look at tennis players. They go on a circuit. Golfers go on a circuit. I don't get why bodybuilders just do one show a year. You're getting paid all this money. You're meant to be a professional athlete. And it's good for the fans, because if you compete a few more times a year, the fans see you. It's great for promoters because they get to use some of the big names in these other shows. I don't just get this whole one time a year bullshit. It's just, like I said, it's just crazy.
Yeah. I think some people use the argument in saying, obviously bodybuilding, you're at such an extreme level with your body that, doing it like a pro golfer, preparation isn't the same as like a bodybuilder.
Mhm.
But I do
Yeah,
get
but look at-
shame because
But look at say boxing then, boxing or UFC fighters.
they push themselves.
They go to extremes with their bodies where it's
That's true.
losing weight and then look at the shit getting punched in the head. And a lot of them will fight sometimes 10 times a year. So they're getting fucking punched in the head, fucking twisted, thrown around, choked out. And all you got to do as a bodybuilder sit on the couch and eat and go, oh no, I'm only going to do one show. It's like, I don't want to. It's like, come on. It's like, it's hard and shit. Training's hard and stuff, but it's just, you got to weigh it up. It's not like, other sports. There are a lot of sports. Yes, we do train hard and contest time, it's hard. But when you look, like I said, there's so many other sports out there too that are just as hard when it comes to training and stuff. Like boxing would probably be one, I do boxing now for cardio and sparring and stuff. And even then it's like, I do lots of cardio on the treadmill and shit, but nothing's like 3 minutes sparring, a minute break, sparring again. Like you're breathing so much differently and moving around. Now take that with getting punched in the head and guts at the same time and the wind knocked out of you. It's like totally different to what bodybuilding is. So really, when you think about it, as hard as bodybuilding it is pretty easy and lazy compared to some other sports, even track and field, the way they have to train, and they do quite a few meets every year, like wrestling, even when they've got to drop to a body weight and wrestle throughout the year. So bodybuilders, stop being fucking lazy and get out there a bit more, will you?
Yeah, well, some of these sports as well, like they'll do many more hours of training in a day than a bodybuilder would do. And they're really active about the recovery. They'll be icing themselves for a certain amount of time, jumping in ice baths and doing all this sorts of stuff. So sometimes I think we
even footballers, look at footballers, they go out there and take a pounding every week on the field and shit like that, whether it be rugby here or NFL over there or soccer players, they're out there, they're pretty cardio fit. They train all week, day after day after day. But now, like I said, I used to train 2 hours, 2.5 hours, but oh my God, Lee, that's overtraining. Bodybuilders now, 45 minutes, I'm done. It's like, what the fuck? It's like, show me any other sport in the world where they only train for 45 fucking minutes. I'm like, where is this? It's like, it's anymore that's overtraining. I'm like, my God, it's like, you want to get big, you want to be the best in the world, but you only want to train 45 minutes a day. Then the rest of the day, you just sit around eating or on your computer playing games or just fucking on fucking Instagram and shit like that. And like I said, how many bodybuilders, when you say you want to go somewhere, oh, I can't, I got a meal. Or you want to go for a walk, oh, that could be catabolic, I better not do that either. I'm like, oh, fucking hell. It's like, have a life, Yeah,
for sure. And it's funny as well, because like you look at I think a perfect example of like a professional bodybuilder that would take it to, like literally take advantage of all his time is like Jay Cutler. He used to train, he'd do twice a day training, but it might be 45 and he'd train real intensely or an hour or whatever. And then he would I remember he said he would fly from Vegas to LA in a day, get treatment with this guy for 2 hours and then fly back. So his whole day was revolving, or maybe drive there, I can't remember, but his whole day would revolve around getting treatment from this one guy once a week. And then he goes sees other people in Vegas, another 3 times a week and spend all this money and stuff. But he'd take advantage of his time, if he had that extra time, he's okay, what can I do to, get better or protect my body and all that sort of stuff. And he would really recognize, I suppose, what he needed to be done as a professional, when I think some of the other guys are like, cool, I can chill on the couch all day. And it's funny,
lay on the couch and eat.
Yeah, and back to what you're saying about the whole, prepping for a contest being more, people saying it's more unhealthy or whatever. Ian Valier saying recently on Fuad's podcast that he sleeps like something like 14 hours a day, and he's like, oh, I just feel like crap, just tired, like all that sort of stuff. And he's 300 odd pounds or 305 pounds or whatever he is right now. And it's like, I'm pretty sure that him being in a comp prep, especially early stages of comp prep, is much more healthy and being a lighter weight than being over 300 pounds and feeling like absolute crap, And he said he feels better when he diets. And
I remember when I was heavy, I'd force myself. I'd still go out and do stuff. But if I sat on the couch, I didn't feel like getting up because you're heavy, you're breathing harder. Everything just seems harder. And then, like I said, you do sleep a lot, but then sometimes you don't sleep because you're just so uncomfortable. Sometimes you're like, I don't want to sleep, or you're constantly bloated, or you wake up with gastric reflux because you've eaten too much food before bed. So it's like I said, it's not really the healthiest thing, is it? It's like you're just force feeding yourself to keep it a body weight. And like even when I was 285, and I heard them saying on the show too, I think Fuad said that when he was up at a heavy weight, you miss a meal or two, you could be down 5 pounds or so. You could be 300, miss a meal, and then down to 295. Think, oh fuck, now I've got to eat more food and get back up there again. Like staying up at that weight is a chore. Eating all that food is a chore type thing. But yet I just got to the point where I have to go out and do stuff. I just can't sit in here and like I'm an animal in a cage. My house is the cage and it's feeding time every couple of hours. I've got to, you know, try and have some sort of life a bit.
For sure. Now let's get into these listener questions. We've got a couple here. The first one is from Barak. He says, ask Lee, when you do, let's say 4 sets of 6 to 8 reps, do you pyramid the weight each set or use the same weight for all 4 sets?
I always pyramid. So pyramid, and then let's just say I was doing chest press incline. I might say, like back in the day, my heaviest was 180, the 180 dumbbells. I'd start off with maybe the 40-pound dumbbells and do a few reps, get the blood in there. Then I'd go 60-pound dumbbells, get the blood in there. But I wouldn't count them, even though they're warming up. I don't count them as sets.
Yeah.
And then I might go to the 120. Once I get to the 120, that would be a working set, but really squeeze in good form. Then maybe go to the 140s, do a set there. And then the heaviest weight, I might do 2 sets on the max weight.
Yep. Cool.
And then if I change exercises, even though I've done incline, after that your chest is warmed up. If I went to flat, I'd still warm up because you're changing the angle and different muscles come into play. I'd still warm up with a set or 2 on the flat bench before I went heavy as well. But I never counted the warm-ups as whatever.
Yeah, that's smart. I remember when I was younger reading these like Flex magazines, and I thought you had to take every set to failure or very close to failure. So I tried to do that almost every set for many, many years, realizing that when I actually backed off some of those early sets, it was a lot better for me. But I used to look at it and be like, well, I'm like, how are they doing 10 reps every set of squats, but their weight's going up every set? And I'm like, are they doing a different technique that hurts for more or something? Are they doing it slower? So I tried to do that, but I felt like I just wasn't training hard. But I sort of realized later on that, you know, most pros do this, and do you feel like it's almost like priming the muscle and getting it used to those max sets, or how do you think about it?
I think so. I just found that I was just easier. I just felt more comfortable mentally as well. And like I said, when the Mensa thing came out with Dorian, I'm thinking I could never do that. Because let's just say in my heyday when I was squatting 7, but I'd stick around 5 generally, but let's just say those days when my heaviest was 7 plates a side, there is no way I could do 1 plate and just say 50, 60 reps, 1 or 2 sets, warming up and go from 1 to fucking 7 plates. It's like, no matter how warm I am, body wouldn't, you know, the joints and knees, I'd always go 1 plate, 2 plate, 3 plates, 4 plates. You know, I could never jump like that. On a leg press, you might be able to jump 2 plates at a time, but squatting, I always just went up a plate at a time till I got to the heaviest, and then maybe do 2 or 3 sets on my heaviest weight. But yeah, I just could never do that 1 set warm up and then go bang to your heaviest. Say like chest, okay, if I did my 40-pound dumbbells and got the blood in there, now I say, okay, now throw me to 180s. I'd be like, fuck that. It's just such a big jump. Just seems to be asking for trouble.
Yeah, for sure. So what I ended up doing was going like I'd pyramid up, but it'd be like very incremental amounts. So I was like, you know, maybe doing 12 reps on the first set, and then it was like, you know, 6 or 8 on the last, but it was always almost every set close to failure. Next question is from Dan Smith. He says, when you were a young fella, what famous bodybuilder physiques did you admire? And then he's got sort of a part 2 as well.
Well, I was actually He-Man, the cartoon I admired the most. And then there wasn't actually a bodybuilder. It's like I said before, if I looked at the magazines, there's not one that I said I wanted to look like him. He-Man, I wanted to look like, because he was just freaky all over. Like I said, I get the bodybuilding magazine. I'd almost make up my own. I remember cutting pieces out one day, like making my own. It'd be like Tom Platz's legs, Matarazzo's arms, or Eddie Robinson's arms. And it'd be somebody else's chest at the time and somebody else's back. So I didn't actually like one complete person. It was like bits and pieces of everyone. But if I could pick one person, it would have been He-Man, because he had it all type thing, you know. Yeah. So when it comes to bodybuilders, like I respected him, and like Arnold, I liked Arnold and that sort of thing and that. But to say who I wanted to look like, there wasn't really anyone that I would have said I want to look like him. I just like body parts, and I just pictured everyone's body part put together.
Yeah, I like seeing when people do that. Like I remember seeing someone made an image, and it was Shawn Ray and Phil Heath, and they had 2 images of both them hitting like a front double bicep or a front lat spread or something like that. And then they had a combination of both of them like mixed together, and it had certain parts of both of them, and it looked like a real physique. And I'm looking at it, I'm going, Shawn Ray, it's Phil Heath. And I'm like, because they're facially, they had little bits of both of them.
Yeah.
If anyone can do that with some photos with like Tom Platt's legs and stuff like that, and Lee Priest's arms and all that sort of stuff, tag me in and I'll post it up on the YouTube community tab and share it around and stuff.
It's almost like Mr. Potato Head for the bodybuilding.
Exactly, the Mr. Potato Head of bodybuilding.
Mr. Potato Head, that's just me at the off season.
Back in the day, for sure. The next part of his question said, I've said this before, the book, he said, the Matrix Principles, I don't know what that is. He said, was ordinary, obviously in his opinion, information-wise, but the pics of you in that book were damn rippers. He said, were those pics taken before or after you turned pro?
Well, that would be before. I was only, when those pictures were taken, I was only 17. For the Matrix. That's when I did Corsten's clothing as well. Professor Ron Lura did the Matrix principle. I never used it. I just did the photos for the book or some sort. It was me, Paul Haslam, Monica, his wife at the time, and some others. Yeah, I was only about 16, 17. So that was quite a few years before I turned pro.
Yes, there's drug-free training for sport and bodybuilding, the Matrix principle. What was it all about? Was it just a training philosophy or something like that?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I got no idea. His name was Professor Ron Lura. He's from Newcastle, and that he was in the different types of training things and that. I couldn't even tell you what the Matrix was, but yeah, there is a book on it. Yeah.
Oh, it says developed in association with the WEDO Research Group. That's interesting. Yeah, I've never heard of it before. Was it Australian?
Yeah. As Australian, Ron Lura. Yeah.
That's interesting. No, I've never heard of it.
He worked at, I think he taught at the University of Newcastle and that.
Oh, yeah. Nice. Are you still living in Newcastle now?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's been raining a lot there lately. Like, is it?
Yes.
Did you experience any flooding or what?
No flooding, but lots of rain, wet all around here. Up north and that, it's up Lismore and all those places have been flooding again. You feel sorry for them. They just cleaned up and that. Then the levees broke the levees again last week. 2 days ago, and flooded all the stores in Lismore again and Ballina and stuff. So yeah,
that sucks. So I've got a few listener questions here. I posted this up on the YouTube community tab just before. Iron Brothers, I haven't read any of these, so hopefully we're all good. Given that Lee is now working with Chris Aceto and Dave Palumbo and has started dieting in possible prep for Masters Olympia, if he does decide to compete, just how serious will he take it on, and what body part or parts does he think he will find harder to bring back up, especially after injury from accident and time away from serious training?
Well, this side is like, because this triceps the bit that atrophied, and in one of the photos you can see people like if you torn your pec, because it's almost like Scott Stein where he's missing that little bit of pec here.
Yep.
So you can notice it on one of the photos. It looks like someone's took a bite out of it. So I'm actually going to see a plastic surgeon next week to see if I can fix it. Maybe they can put an implant in. I'll go, ooh, double D's, squeeze my nipples. Hey, I'll be able to do figure or something then, maybe, huh? Bikini.
You can get like a nipple transplant too, so you have big fat areolas or something as well.
You just want that, don't you, huh? You're thinking back to RX muscle, huh?
Refer back to the video for who's watching. But are you serious?
No, I'd have to bring up, like I said, I'm just doing the transformation for now, see how I can look. I'll try, like I said, it's harder to do it now because, if you've got a contest, it's easier to focus because you've got that happening. But yeah, sort of get this fixed. And, triceps slowly coming back. It still takes a long time. Like I said, my last neck operation was only a year and a half ago. Well, November this year will be 2 years. So it's about a year and a half since the last operation where they went in through here. But it's still, I think it's slowly. It has good days where I'm thinking, it's coming good. And days I'm like, oh, fuck, I feel like I'm back to square one again. So yeah, that's just weird. But then I had a scan on here not long ago. I have a little tear in this front delt, like a 5 millimeter one, because for all those years that this side was weaker, this side's had to take the brunt of everything. Yep. So now my good shoulder's actually getting a bit, I'm like, oh, fucking hell, now it's playing up. So like I said, I just take one step at a time. But if I was to do it, I wouldn't do it unless I was serious, because I wouldn't go back on stage and everyone would be expecting to see me. Lee's back, yeah, here he comes. Oh, fucking hell, what did he do?
Yeah, I think
what was he thinking?
you've lessened the expectation by the first photos that you weren't expecting to come out as well. Like they're literally the starting photos of this transformation. So they're out there already. So people have probably lower expectations than maybe they had before. And I think you still look bloody like, you know, like considering what you told me about your diet before, I'm like, holy shit, you've still got huge arms. And you see the photos you put up, you've got bloody massive arms and everything already. So I'm looking forward to seeing like, you know, how much muscle do you think you'll put on, or do you think it's more about just the conditioning?
I don't think I'll put on much. I'm just more about conditioning. Maybe if I can just keep what I have, get conditioning, and, you know, just bring the waist in, and, you know, once everything else starts tightening up around it, you know, the illusion is it's popping more when the shoulders come in. You get that like nice line around here, and generally because I like some of those photos at the Universe when I took before the Universe, all around here gets so small, my forearms almost look fake because it sort of goes into a small elbow joint and this just pops out. So I said it's just the illusion of keeping what I have, what I've got now, and then just getting in some sort of shape, holding on to what I have, and then just take it from there. Because like I said, the last contest diet I did was proper cycle was 2013, like you said, 9 years ago. So it's like, ugh, the body's gone into shock already, having to eat this food again.
What did you, if you don't mind me asking, what did you take for that Universe in terms of obviously gear?
Gear would have been, I think I was just taking Cypionate 400. I think I took T3, just 25 micrograms. And then I had Winstrol. I was taking 1 to 1.5 mil every third day, but I didn't like injecting it. So they said, you know, the liquid, you can even squirt it in your mouth. And it tastes like shit. I squirt. And then I just took the last 4 weeks with that. I kept taking an Apollon 50, or what is it, Enadrol 50 in America, or, you know, the ones that are most toxic. But yet, you know, people say, oh, you take that, you hold fluid. No, you don't. If you're dieting and eating clean, you know, to just keep you so full, because, you know, you fill out and just stay nice and round and full. And it was 97 when I got second to Flex. I took T3, clenbuterol, and Winstrol. That's all I took for that Ironman, because when we were doing the photo shoot the next day, we just stopped at the garage to get something on the way, and Flex comes over the cake. I've been meaning to ask you, you're in great shape. What did you take? I said, just Winstrol, clenbuterol, and T3. He's like, fuck, that's it. He goes, you would die if you know what I fucking took. So, like I said, I've always been like minimal 4 at the most, and that could be including clenbuterol, because I know guys that would take in 6 different things or 7 different things. I'm like, well, that's good and dandy, but really, how do you know what's working? It's like 2 of those 8 might be working, or 3 might be working. How do you know? It's like, well, then I take this and then I take that. I'm like, you don't fucking need all that. It's like, I don't know why they just think they got to take so many. It'd be like, even I've done it before, I might start with Test and Dianabol at the beginning of the diet. And back then when you could get Primabol, and I was saying I might have switched to Primabol and then the Anadrol the last 6 weeks. So I'd never stay on sometimes the same thing from the beginning to the end. I'd switch them up. And generally too, the last week or so, I'd try and have no injections, just in case you hit a bad spot and you get inflamed and fucking hold all the fluid and shit. Because, you know, the last week or two, you're not going to lose any fucking size. I know guys that, oh, I got to have a shot today. I'm like, the contest is tomorrow. Yeah, but I got to have a shot. I'm like, what the fuck? You think you're going to lose muscle or fucking hell? It's like, and then you see them and they have it, then they have a big lump there on stage, and you're like, oh, or it's on their ass. You see this big goose egg on their ass. Because I said, if you're in lean condition, you can't hide something that's inflamed.
And you see it so much too. And it's like, how don't people actually understand it? Like I've seen guys with shots in their quads, shots in their delts, but worse. They hit the back double bicep and you just see this big lump coming out. It's all blurred when they might have lines in there.
And the thing is, on stage and you got the oil on it, like even jumps out more.
It looks
like it's really highlighted. That's why I said, even, you know, orals aren't good, but I'd always try and go to orals more the last couple of weeks, just so there's no injections to worry about and shit.
Yeah, for sure. Next question is from Taylor Cantley. He says, what was Lee's lowest point in his life? As in, did he ever deal with any type of mental depression? If so, at what age? Thanks, Xavier.
Really not now. I haven't really got mental depression now, but the last few months I had like fucking bad anxiety attacks for some reason. I don't know why, whether it was knowing I was going to do a transformation and the pressure from that, changing sponsors and that sort of thing. But probably the last 5 months I went to the hospital 3 times thinking I was having a heart attack, but it was just anxiety, where I'd go to sleep, but I'd wake up like I've been hit with adrenaline. My arms are tingling. I'm like, shit like that. I got to get out the house and stuff. And then I found the best thing for it, Finurgan. Take the Finurgan, the tingles go away and go. But yeah, because then I'd start. The thing was, I'd have one bad night like that. I'd go fucking can't sleep. I'm up watching TV. I'm just thinking about God knows what. But then the next day, because it was such a bad night, when it's getting dark outside, I'm thinking, oh, fuck, it's going to happen again. It's almost like you're bringing it on yourself. So it's just your fucking mind overthinking all this shit again. Then like, here it comes. You're talking yourself into it. So now I just take the Finurgan because it's good because it's not addictive. It's almost like people drinking Benadryl or something going to sleep. It takes the tingly away. Now when I go to bed, I'm just thinking about cars. Oh, that Corvette would be nice. Bit expensive. I'm not going to buy it. But so I just start thinking about what I can do to cars and fall asleep rather than, you know, you have one of those days where even for a while, I don't know what it was. I was watching movies and I went to get new tires on my wife's car. I was down at Wall's End where I grew up. So I'm like, I'll go for a walk around my old neighborhood. There's my old friend's house. Oh, there's my old house. Go up the hill where I used to live. There's a house I lived in, the house. Then I've got fucking tears coming down. I thought, why the fuck am I? Do I fucking estrogens fucking going to here? It's like I'm fucking crying. But then I start thinking, holy shit. I said, I'm remembering all this stuff. I'm seeing my old homes. I'm going to fucking die. That's why I'm seeing this today, because I'm going to die tonight. And it's just like a trip down memory lane before I'm fucking dead. That's when I start thinking that I should feel this shit coming on again. I'm like, oh, fucking hell. It's like, I was just like I said, I'm telling my friend on the phone, I'm like, yeah, I was talking to Jimmy the Bull. I'm like, yeah, this is the creek I used to play in with my mates. We'd play down in the storm drain here. And this is the fish and chip shop I used to go to. And then I picture Jimmy on the radio. Then it suddenly goes into my head, Dave going, I got bad news to report. And then Jimmy on there going, yeah, Dave, I was just talking to him yesterday. He was showing me his hometown where he grew up. This is what I'm fucking thinking ahead now. I'm thinking, please stop thinking about shit like that. But I never really had like depression or stuff. You know, I've got more, like I said, just the lightly with the anxiety type things, but I try and get that under control. So actually, this is actually being really good. Not to plug it, but I will plug it. Dave's Somalize has GABA in it and stuff. I take
that's for sleep. That's a sleep fat burner, isn't it? Yeah, sleep fat burner. And like I take them in 20 minutes and I get this real weird feeling like, oh God, what's happening? I start to breathe a bit funny and I get this real tingle. He goes, oh, that's like the GABA tingles. It feels like anxiety, doesn't it?
Yeah. I'm thinking, oh, fuck it. When I first took them, I thought that's what it was. I'm sitting on the couch on the recliner, my feet out, and I'm like, fuck, what's that feeling? I'm putting the couch down. I'm sitting up. I'm like, what the fuck's that happening? And I'm telling Dave, I got a few things. Oh, that's just the GABA tingles. And I'm like, okay. Then like 2 minutes later, it goes away. And then I start like my eyes are going, oh, I can't really. And I had like the best deep sleep and stuff on that. Yeah, but that GABA tingle when it comes on, it's like the weirdest feeling. It's like, fuck, am I something happening in my head? Or it's weird. I really recommend them, but I found too, normally when I was taking them before bed, I took them on an empty stomach. So now if I have like a protein drink before bed, or if I take them closer to my last meal, I don't get that bad feeling as bad. But on an empty stomach, oh, fucking hell, it hits like, the first night I told Dave when I took him, I had to actually go in the kitchen and go, fuck, did I take the pre-workout by mistake before bed? I'm like, tell me I didn't take the pre-workout. And I'm like, no, I took these. I'm like, and then I'm looking at the back, I'm thinking, what the fuck's in it? I'm thinking, I've got something in there. But no, they are good for sleeping, yes.
Yeah, I didn't even put two and two together because I was taking like a powdered version of GABA, and I thought, I'm getting this anxiety every night. Like it's happening every night, but it was just the GABA, obviously. And when you know it's the GABA, it's not like anxiety anymore, but you'd work yourself up. No. You're having this panic attack. And because my breathing would get like a little bit, and then I have the tingling. I'm like, oh, I don't feel good. And I'd say,
that's what happened to me,
yeah, my partner of time.
I get that tingly. Yeah, because you get the tingly feeling, and it's almost like shit. It's almost like I can't breathe. It's almost like I'm going shallow breathing. All of a sudden, I'm like, "Fuck, am I going to pass out?" And it happened the second time I was in the bathroom. I just did a piss. I've had to clean my teeth. As I'm bending over to clean my teeth, it comes on. I'm like, I'm holding onto the sink, thinking I'm going to fucking go down. Like, that's so funny. What is it? Yeah, but I said once you've had anxiety, I don't know where it's come from because I've never had it before, anything like that. But I think it's because once you've had it a couple of times, anything that you feel coming on, it takes you back to it, and then you just bring it on yourself. It's almost like you're causing it yourself by thinking stupid shit. And that's where the problem is too. I used to have a hard time going to sleep because if you're watching TV, you can be just watching a movie. You're not thinking about shit. You're just watching that. I'll go to bed now. As soon as I lay in bed, boom, fucking brain starts thinking about what I got to do tomorrow. When I get up and got to do this. And then I start getting anxiety because I'm like an OCD. I think that doesn't help because I want things done now. Everything's got to be done. So I'll be in the kitchen stuff and I'll be preparing something for later on today. I get my wife's coffee ready in the morning. When she's finished, I'm like, I'll prepare her coffee for tomorrow. I'll get it ready now. I'm thinking, Lee, what you got to do it now for? You got all fucking day. It's like, I'm just thinking that so much shit. It's like I might have 20 things to do and I want to do it all in the first 2 hours of the day. And I start getting, if I don't do it, I'm like, oh, Lee, just leave it. Just leave it till later on. Just put right now, do this. Later on, do that. And like I said, but if you can't do it all, you can feel it building up like, that's fucking shit.
That's what I do. That's my problem. That's why I've had anxiety too, as well, in part. And I'll have like a list of stuff I want to get done in a day. A few things will go wrong in the day. I'm going, it's not going to fit. It's not going to fit in there. And I would, the thing that actually helped me a little bit is I would write down the tasks I want to do for the day and think, okay, that'll take me about half an hour. How long will I allow for that? I'm going to allow an hour for it because shit goes wrong in the day and stuff like that. And if you've allowed for it and you think, oh, well, I'm only going to get this much done in a day, and you know, and you sort of do it like that, you don't have these parts of the day where you go, shit, I'm not going to get that done. And then you get less productive because you're like, oh, what am I going to do? Like, I'm not going to get that done. I need to get both done. I mean, you just got to write it down. How long's it taking?
That's what my friend would say that. He'd say, Lee, now at the gym as I'm cardio, he'd be saying that. He goes, because he said he had that too, but what he would do is like, he'd make like imaginary drawers. He goes, okay, this I have to do. I'll put in drawer 1. Whatever this is, I'll put that in drawer 5. I don't need to do it right now. So later on the day, I'll go to drawer 5 in my mind and go, okay, I'll do this now. But because I said, I've always been OCD. Everything's got to be perfect, this and that, and done this certain way. That I can't even sit and watch TV if I see something a bit off center. I'm like, ignore it. Don't fucking straighten it up. Just pay no attention. I'm looking, fuck, I gotta go. It's like, it's just like, do it now. Like, no, I can do it later. You don't have to do it now. But yeah, it's like I said, it's so much in your fucking head where you just overthink shit and stuff like that. It's like I said, but like I said, if you've anyone that's had it bad, you'll know that, you bring it on yourself so much because once you've had that bad experience, I got to the point where I had it bad for a couple of nights and I went to the hospital and they're like, you're okay, your heart's fine, this and that. So I knew it was the anxiety, but yet as I'm at home and the sun's going down, I could, oh, fuck, it's going to be another night like that. I fucking hate nighttime. It's like I was dreading the nighttime because during the day, you're busy doing shit. You're keeping out there with lots of things to do to keep your mind busy. But at nighttime, I'd be like, oh, the sun's going down. It's going to happen again. I know it's going to happen. And I can hear it come. It's like, oh, man. Shit. Well, like I'm giving myself it now, just thinking about it, talking, I can feel it coming on.
Well, it's funny because like a lot of guys, obviously, a lot of bodybuilders smoke weed to obviously relax and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. And
my friend just sent me some CBD oils and stuff. So I'm gonna, with there's no THC in it and stuff like that. So I'm gonna try taking that a bit too, and I got another one called Ready Calm. I think it's got like that ashwagandha and stuff like that, and that you can take during the day just to.
That stuff's probably the best stuff that I've ever used in terms of like a supplement is that ashwagandha. But yeah. I did a super high dose because I was, my fatigue was really, really bad. I was like waking up in the morning and then needing to go back to sleep like an hour later after an 8 hour
and that's
sleep.
The thing too. If you don't get sometimes sleep from all the shit, it just builds up and you're like a zombie and you feel worse because you've had no sleep. You're like,
it just snowballs.
Like it's just shit.
Yeah, absolutely. But ashwagandha, 3 times a day, and that's helped me.
How much of that did you take? How many milligrams of that did you take at a time?
Well, I was under recommendation because my fatigue was so bad. I reached out to Matt Legg from ATP Science, and I asked him, and I said, "Look, my fatigue's so bad. I feel bad reaching out to him because everyone wants his advice on stuff." But I said, "Look, it's so bad. I'm like, can you just help me?" Because I know him personally, and he sent me a list of a few supplements. But I found the thing that was most beneficial was the ashwagandha and doing the turmeric and all that sort of stuff. And he recommended I take 10 grams of it a day, which was 20 something capsules. And that actually made me quite nauseous at the start. It made me I was thinking, what? Like, I actually just had a breakup with a partner at the time. This was years and years ago. And I thought, geez, I'm like, this anxiety or stress or whatever from breaking up is making me really sick. And I wasn't realizing it was the ashwagandha. And then after a few weeks of doing it, my fatigue was a lot better, but I was just sick all the time. And then I scaled it right back and then just slowly build it up again to, 20 odd capsules of it. And it was a lot better, but it was a huge dose. but now it's like, the normal dose is probably, maybe 1.5 grams a day, not 10 grams. So, but worked really, really well for me. And that's what I'm doing now, 1.5 a day, or 1 to 1.5. Next question.
I know some people too get that. I know if you're over 55, you don't need to prescription. You can get that melatonin from the chemist now, like 2 grams of melatonin or something. They say that helps them.
Yeah,
I think these here actually have. I have my glasses on, but
I'm pretty sure I do. I'm pretty sure it does, because Dave likes melatonin.
Yeah, 3 milligrams of melatonin if you take 3 capsules.
Yeah. But one thing to be careful of as well is if you get your, separate melatonin, if you take a really high dose of it and it's not the time release, you're probably going to wake up really aggressively, especially if you've got a fast metabolism after like 6 hours or 5 hours. Because I did it in a prep once. I'm like, I keep waking up. I'll take more and more. So I got up to about 12 milligrams of it, of the regular melatonin. And I'd just be asleep and it'd be like 3 a.m. and I'd be in prep and I'd just be like, wide awake, like almost wired as soon as I'd open my eyes. And I'm like, try to go back to sleep because I don't want to have my first meal at 4 o'clock or before.
That's where you go back to the chemist and I can recommend it for Nurgan.
or now I know better, probably weed. So let's move on to the next question. This is from Ben. I don't know how to pronounce that last name. That's a confusing one, but you can see it on the screen there. He says, excited for the interview. With all due respect to this legend, I'm curious about how Lee's overall organ health is now that he's getting up there in age. That's a rough question. Possibly some things he's doing to keep his health in check.
Good, because I've been in hospital enough in the last few months that everything's good. My heart's good. I always get a stress test every year anyway, and I get blood every 6 months. I just had, because of these anxiety things, I just went and had my blood done 2 weeks ago. I haven't got the results yet, but I'm checking, like adrenal and all those other serotonin levels and stuff. But then I paid $160 because you can pay $160 and you can get the DNA blood test. Have you heard of them?
Yep.
Yes, I'm getting one of them done that way too. If there is any problems, because I've had friends that have anxiety and different problems, and the doctor says, "Here, take Zoloft, this many milligrams." I'll be on it for a couple of months, not working. All right, let's change to this medication. So with the DNA blood test, they can tell what medications work for you and the dosages, and also I did the cardiac side of it too. So if I ever do have problems with my heart later on, they can tell from my DNA things in the blood and that what heart medication would be best for me and the stuff like that. So it's good to have to know that sort of stuff. But and actually next Monday I go to my cardiologist, and I'm going to he's going to refer me to get one of those, Dave talks about it, the CT cardiac scans. Yeah, where you just go through that little round donut and just see everything. So just so I know peace of mind that way too. So I'm getting that done. Yeah.
Well, Dave says you're a hypochondriac. So if you got that peace of mind, it's going to make you feel a lot.
Well, that's the thing. Sometimes, like I said, Dave reads my blood. I sent him the blood I was in the hospital about a month ago, and I said to him, he's like, your blood's perfect. Yeah, but it's like, when I go to the hospital, I think I'm dying. But it's like, once they come to me and go, no, you're fine. I'm like, okay, I'm fine now. Once they tell me I'm okay. So it's almost like, sometimes it's like you can get a bit of a chest pain. You go, was that wind, gas, or was it just because I trained chest today? I think I'm having a heart attack. Or my shoulder blades are tight. Let me check Google. Tightness of the shoulder blades. And sometimes I'm always hot. I can be laying in bed some nights and I get clammy. I'm like, clammy's a sign of a heart attack. I read it on Google. It's like, I get a stomach pain. You read that Google sucks for fucking stomach pain. If I go to Google, it's fucking bowel cancer. Honey, I got bowel cancer. I was fucking, everything's fucking deaf on Google. So I don't fucking read Google. So even though I think my heart's okay, it was last time I had it checked. Once they do the scan, they go, you're fine. I think just knowing it, had that peace of mind.
Yeah, I feel like I have more peace of mind. Even if it's like,
I probably walk out with the results saying my heart's good. Bang, get hit by a car.
It didn't matter. Next question is from Dan Christensen. He said, I'd like to know Lee's favorite bodybuilder. I think that was a question before, maybe I just read it before. And like to know Lee's favorite Olympia lineup, what year, notable competitors, etc. So probably one you competed in, maybe where someone was.
My favorite bodybuilder was probably Tom Platz, because I got on good with him, and he was down to earth. But then Matarazzo too and Paul Dillette. So I didn't really have a favourite because a lot of them were friends and I got on good with. So, and a Olympia lineup. And I'd probably say 97 was good when I was there. There was me, Dorian, NASA, Chris, Flex Wheeler. I'd say that could have been one of the best ones. I was flexing 97.
And a controversial one too, because that's obviously Dorian's last Olympia win when he had the
and NASA looked like he could have won. But there have been a few Olympias where there's been so many good ones with Kevin Leverone and shit. So I couldn't really say what Olympia is the best lineup. I think every year, no matter what year it is, the guys up there, it's, every year, like CS conditioning can be different, but if you can make it to the Olympia, and like I said, some years are better than others, but still it's the Olympia. So you can't really knock anyone being up there for getting to it. So.
Yeah, that's it. Next question. This is from Mr. SV. It says, can you ask Lee his opinion on athletes with bad gyno being allowed to step on stage at the pro level? Does he think it should be allowed or not? Thanks.
It's hard to stop it, but personally, I think if you got it, you should get it removed. But sadly, sometimes I know some guys in the off season, because if you're heavy, sometimes you don't really know you got it until you diet right down and you got the muscle left, and then you see, oh shit, I got this little fatty pocket that didn't go away. And then, like I said, if it's that close to the contest, you can't really take time off to go get it cut out or anything, can you? So it's like,
Because just running. Hello, daughter Sophia. Do you have gyno? Say hello, Lee.
Hello.
Good girl.
Hello.
All right, you guys need to get out. I've got this. Well, B1 and B2 here. Say hello, Lee Priest.
Hi there.
All right, get out now. Can you come get the kids? Out.
Yeah, like I said, so it's good. It's best not to have it because, like I said, when you're in rip condition, that little fatty thing does stand out. But sadly, like I said, a lot of guys, when you're heavy, you don't really notice it because you're heavy. It's like I said, when you diet down and you're thinking, well, it'll go away, it'll tighten up, and it doesn't. If you're only a month out from a show, it's like, well, shit, I can't get it cut out now because I'm a month out. So
yeah,
it's hard to tell.
William Bonac had a little bit at the Arnold Classic, and it wasn't enough to obviously make him look terrible, but I think it was maybe the deciding factor between him winning and losing that Arnold Classic.
Yeah, but then we've seen Ronnie win. Didn't Ronnie win the Olympia with bad gyno once? So it's like, well,
yeah,
Mr. Olympia had it that one year really bad and he still won. So again, it's like, why does some things work for others and not? Some guy can have it, he doesn't get penalized. Somebody else has it, and they do get penalized. So it's like you got to be consistent with rules, no matter who it is. So,
yeah.
But I said it's best to. Like I said, sometimes you don't know you got it till it's too late, but now he knows he's got it. I'm sure he'll probably get it removed now before the next contest.
It'd be so frustrating as well if it came on during a prep, like especially if you're doing all the things, or if you get fake like aromatase inhibitors or for whatever, that would be so frustrating. Because I remember Iris Kyle, she did an Arnold Classic once, and I think it might have been.
I had a shot in the glute,
yeah. She might have been against Yoksani maybe, and she lost that one, and I was like, that would suck. Just a shot in the glute gone wrong, I'm like,
that's why I said go to orals. But the thing is, too, here's the trick: if you're backstage and you got gyno, get some ice and put on it. It really tightens it up.
It's a good idea. It's actually a good idea. I've actually heard of people doing that before. Next question is from Akua M. Says the major key on his opinion on the condition, because in our time, most bodybuilders have problem with condition. So what the old school bodybuilder do to achieve the kind of crisp condition? Thank you. So he's wondering what the old school guys do different to the new school guys to get that sort of conditioning.
Yeah, I know a lot of guys didn't use as many supplements. I don't know whether some rely on more supplements now and not hard work, because nothing's going to beat hard work when it comes to condition, cardio and stuff. I know some guys do cardio, some don't. I know now some rely more on GH or some different types of fat burners. I said, you can use them, yes, they're great, but nothing's ever going to beat hard work, busting your ass, doing the cardio, doing the training. I know we used to train a bit longer back then. Like I said, maybe an hour and a half to 2 hours. Now they're training only 1 hour. So little things like that can make a big difference. So, like I said, I know some guys would be like, I'd be like, you're going to do cardio? oh no, I'm just going to take a bit more clenbuterol. I was like, okay, clenbuterol's great and it helps, but still nothing's going to beat doing the hard work. So it's almost like people want to look the best they can. They want to be the biggest they can, but it's almost like they're getting lazy. They don't want to do the hard work. It's like, what can I do to be the best possible bodybuilder with minimal effort? It's like, you know.
Do you think
like, if there's something I can take so I don't actually have to do that? It's like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Do you think it's, I've thought about this many times as why, like, I think guys get in great condition here. Now, don't get me wrong. I think they get in actually better condition they sort of get credit for. But I think the actual detail in the muscle and the separation isn't what it used to be. Maybe because these guys are bigger overall. I don't know, but there's still some pretty big guys back then that had crazy detail. Or do you think it's because, like, yeah, the time of training, they're training for a shorter period of time in general, so maybe that conditions the muscle in a different way? Or do you think it's the insulin, or do you think it's the excessive amounts of food? Like, is there anything that you think it is in particular, or do you think it's
I think I can't really put your finger on one. I think it's a combination of all. Because you see guys back in the old days who would bust their ass, train sometimes 3 hours in the morning, 3 hours at night, back in Arnold's day, the Bernal Foxes and all these guys. And look at the fucking dense, fit, crazy muscle they had just doing the heavy, basic type shit. So, you know, whether like I said, there's a combination of, back then, there's a lot more free weights than machines. Now, machines are great, don't get me wrong, but still, nothing's going to beat hard, heavy, free weights where you got to use your whole body to stabilize, or the stabilizing muscles come in. So I think it's a combination of everything. And plus, back then we didn't have phones in the gym, so we're more fucking focused people. They're like, Ollie started on the phone argument again. Like,
phones are distracting, man. I don't
off
like
season,
it.
if you want to have it in the gym off season, I said fine. If you want to do a heavy set, then get on there. But contest time, when you should be focused, like, you'd never see Mike Tyson sparring in between rounds, pass me my phone or shit like that, or anything else. So if you're in the gym, forget then. Oh, I don't want to hear fucking for music. There's music in the gym. Focus on your training. You should be into that, because I've said before, I'm going to change a song. Oh, wait a minute. There's fucking a couple of messages. Let me check. Oh, fuck, the wife's pissed at me. Now your whole mindset's or whatever it is. It's so many. It could be a message from anyone where you could be so focused, having the best workout ever. You read that message and you're like, oh, fuck. Now you're fucking. It's just like, leave it in your bag. Whatever's on your phone can wait an hour or two till you finished your workout. So you just don't need it. And then they're like, but we've got to record our workout for Instagram. Record it when you're finished. It's like, go through your back workout, have a great back workout. Now you're finished. Okay, let me just run back over here. I'm going to do a seated row and just take a photo of me doing this real quickly, or just a quick couple of reps for the video. You don't need to do it, because I said that is so fucking distracting. I don't care what anybody says. It's just, you don't need it. Then I've seen people do, I'll just take one photo. They take it. I don't like that one. Hold on, take another one. Before you know it, 5 minutes has gone past. They're trying to get the right fucking angle and fucking, it's like, just do your workout. Yeah, just do your workout. Forget the phone.
Yeah, I actually, to be honest, like, when I've had training partners and I've prepped, maybe I've been like, oh, I could just film this set or whatever. And it's just like, or just film one of the sets. And I'm like, man, I don't have to think about it. I don't look at it until after or whatever. But honestly, to me, it's like, it's frustrating and annoying. Like, I'd rather have like a video
like
guy.
Anything, I've done in the off season where I just have a phone. I've caught myself where, because like my sponsors are overseas, I'm like, I'll just reply to them real quickly. The next thing you know, I'm doing this, and I'm like, fuck, 10 minutes has gone past. You know, once you get on your phone, time just fucking goes. It seems like 1 or 2 minutes, but it's fucking 10 minutes. It's
exactly.
Like, and I see it now when I'm at the gym. I'll be waiting for the machine, and some fucker's sitting there, and I look over his shoulder. He's on Facebook or he's watching a video. I'm like, oh, hurry up, for fuck's sake. But it's even worse now. It's like public toilets. If you ever got to take a shit somewhere or whatever, I'm thinking, this cunt can't be in there that long shitting. I know the cunt's probably just in there, sitting there on fucking Facebook, filling in fucking time on the toilet, you prick. Get out. Other people have to use the toilet too.
That's so funny. Do you know what I actually used to do? This is a bit weird, but the crash I used to take my son to was at the gym. So it was a gym called Green Zone. It's actually owned by Danny Green, the boxer. And I'd go there and they'd have like a 2-hour sort of time limit. And it was only like, it was real cheap to take him there. It was like $3 or something every time you go to the crash for 2 hours. So I'm like, that's awesome. So I take him there and I'm like, well, I'm not going to train for 2 hours. I'd train for maybe an hour to an hour and 15 generally. And so I'm like, okay, well, I've got an extra 30 minutes, 45 minutes. I'm like, I'd either have a shower, and then I like sometimes when I get there, I'd be like, I've got this work to do. I've got to finish editing this video. So I take my laptop. I literally just sit on the toilet, not literally on the toilet, but like on the top of the seat and just work in there for a while. But it always sucked. Like I'd sit in the end ones. I'm like, no one's going to come down here into one next to me.
Someone always does.
I know, they come and do a crap right next to you. I'm like, okay, well, my work is done here. And then I'm like, I just start training straight away.
I hate that. If I have to use a public toilet and I'm really fussing, like, fuck, I can't wait to get home, I'll go, but I'll get some paper first, go out to the soap dispenser, put soap on it, wipe the toilet seat down, lay the paper on the seat, and I'll just sit down, and there could be like 8 toilets. And I'll go to the end one. I'm just about to shit, and someone gets in the toilet right beside me. I'm like, what the fuck? And I don't want to make a noise, so I sit there holding it, waiting for him to finish. And he could be there. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Are you on your phone? You can't. And I'm sitting there going, oh, fucking hell, he's not going to hurry up. And I tried to hold my shit in, because once your mind says you got to go, you got to go. And this cunt's just sitting there playing. I can hear ding, 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 ding on the phone. So now I'm trying to flush at the same time I go, so you don't make a noise.
I don't care that much.
But I think out of all the toilets, why you got to sit fucking right beside me?
Yeah, that's weird. That's weird. I like, yeah, when people do that, it's like there's a line of urinals. There's 10 of them there. You're taking a piss and someone stands right next to you. It's like,
I did that today when I was over the shopping centre. There was like the urinals. They got like the divider between, and there's like 6 of them. I went to the end one to piss. A guy comes in, he stands in the run right beside me to piss. And then I start doing this to see if they're like looking over. Or if someone sits in the toilet store beside me, as I'm sitting there, I start looking up like this to see if they're. So they go, why else would you go in the one right fucking beside me?
Yeah, I haven't had anyone look in, unless maybe I was out and I was drunk or something one time, but I can't remember. But yeah, I had that. Next question, second last question from Bob Aliwine. He says, please ask Lee his opinion on TRT. Thanks. So obviously hormone replacement therapy. Or testosterone.
I think it's good. I think it's good for men, because as I said, men get to a certain age where your testosterone drops and shit, and we hear so much about women and their problems, and women this, women that. Men's sports have to cater to women's breast cancer and cervical cancer, pink day for this. It's like men have just as many problems. We have cancers too, and prostate cancer and this and shit, but it's always about the women. And the same as we hear about menopause and women having hormones. They can go get these hormones for their fucking estrogen. It's like, but yet if a man has anything wrong with him, here in Australia at least, we've got to jump through hoops. You got to go to the doctor, go to the endocrinologist. They do tests. Then they'll make you wait a while. You got to go back again. If your test is not low enough, you don't get testosterone. But there's so many guys out there who, like I said, they will go through an age in their life where they're depressed, they've got no energy, they're lethargic, and they think it's something mental. So doctors, oh, here's some Zoloft, here's some Xanax, here's some fucking whatever, which makes them fucking worse. Because my friend at clinics in America goes, Lee, the amount of men that come in here depressed, just like no energy, run down in life, and they're on all this fucking medication. We take them off it, we test their test levels, and they're so low, we just put them on TRT, and they like feel like young men again. They're happy, they feel energy, and it's like they're just like, that's why sometimes when guys don't get on the test and we go through this midlife crisis type thing, that like, oh, why is that old guy buying a fucking sports car? It's because he's trying to find something to make him feel happy and give him excitement. Or why did that older guy leave his missus for that young girl? Because he's trying to fucking feel alive again. And like I said, it's short-lived, because okay, you get the sports car, you get the sexy girl, and a couple of months later, I'm still fucking, your hormones are still shot. So yes, I think more men, it should be more accepted and spoke about more, that men should, you know, go on the TRT. As I said, a lot of people who are on these fucking wacky medications thinking it's their head and shit, it's really just having low testosterone levels. And if you can sort that out, you can get off all the other prescription drugs that fucking make you worse.
Yeah, and it's not spoken about much in Australia, really. Like, I remember going to America when I went to the Olympia back when it was Kai versus Phil. I think it was actually Kai's last Olympia, which was ages ago, 2016 or something like that. And I remember being there and watching the TV in my room, and it's like, do you suffer from, you know,
like, and it's like there's actually clinics everywhere,
yeah, and they're advertising like, you know, this may be for you, and it's basically saying about TRT, but they called it something else over there. That's calling it, what were they calling it? It was a real funny name, and I remember Dave actually taking a piss out of it one time on one of his shows. I can't remember what it was called, but low T. They said, "Do you suffer from low T?" And
Oh,
it just cracked me up, and they're saying about hormones and stuff, but we don't get any of that over here, and people don't really realize that it's much harder.
Women, we always hear about menopause all the time, and women go through menopause and, you know, see a doctor. They can walk into their doctor and get stuff straight away for their menopause and stuff. But men, we have to jump through fucking hoops just to get a little bit of test. It's crazy.
The reason why is don't think anyone's going to use estrogen as a performance enhancer, but obviously testosterone, it's like, oh, that's going to help.
Yeah, but even then, by the time you go to use it, it's like, you know, if you're in your late 40s, 50s, and you just want TRT, it's like you're not going to be going out fucking winning many 2 medals at that age. It's like maybe if you're in your 20s and shit, you're going around saying, hey, I need TRT. It's like the doctor could be like, you know, but at a certain age, it's like, okay, we know you're just using it for just feel young again and stuff like that. So yeah, it's crazy here.
Now, this question, I don't know what this is. It's slightly strange. Michael Sheepers, he says, why does he proclaim to be the pastor through a fake organization and behave like he does? Simple question. You will know them by their fruit. Do you know what that means?
No, I am a minister. I did fill out and did my ministry. I am a minister through this church. It is an accredited church in America. And I do have the authority.
A fake organization.
Well, I don't know what that is, because the church I'm with is a church where I can legally marry people and stuff. So it is an actual thing. That's what. But I'm not a pastor. It's like a ministry thing. I've even got my minister's card and shit and all my papers that give me the rights to marry people. I don't know if that's what he's talking about, but I don't know about the fruit and fucking.
A simple question. You will know them by their fruit. I have no idea what that means. But he says,
is that like you'll know them by their name? The false prophets will come bearing gifts and, you know, all this sort of shit. He's going biblical on us there. Yeah,
that got a little bit strange, yeah.
What was his name, Michael? Was it Michael?
It was Michael Sheepers. So, Michael.
Do not fucking write and drink at the same time next time, please.
That's an unusual.
This is what happened, kids. Don't do drugs, kids. This is what happens.
Would you, if someone's
battery just come on?
We'll wrap it up in a second. But would you actually, if someone said to you, "Will you marry us?" or, you know, someone said that in Sydney?
I've had quite a few ask me. Yes, they wanted me to do it when I went over there, but I wouldn't have enough time that people wanted me to marry them when I'm over there and stuff. I said, me marrying you is like, I can't take things serious. I'd be like, it would be the weirdest ceremony ever. Do you take him to be whatever? Is there anyone here that sees a reason why these people shouldn't get married? Anyone? Anyone at all?
I reckon some people
I've been married. Mate, I'm trying to give you out. I've been married 5 times. Anyone here? Like, it'd just turn into a comical festival. I was married someone and be like, sure. Well, you'd have to know that ahead of time that this ain't going to be a normal, nice wedding type thing.
if anyone wants to get married by Lee Priest, post it in the comments below or something, because it'd be cool if it actually happened and we could get that on video somehow. That'd be amazing.
Do you promise to obey and this and that? Just start writing shit in there.
Just make stuff up.
Do you promise to give him sex at least twice a week and on the weekends anal? Let's write that in. Let's write that in here as well. Commitment. You can't just say yes now and you do all this shit like you do when you're trappers. You know, when they're courting you, they do everything. Then when you get married, like, I'm not going to do that anymore. It's like, why are you fucking stopping doing that? That's what attracted me to you. Now you don't fucking do it. What the fuck? Used to cook meals when we first met. Now you don't fucking do that. What the fuck's going on here?
It's funny, like, some people are not into him and some people are, but Tony Robbins, he talks about, he's like, how are you when you're first in a relationship and someone asks you to like take out the trash? And he's like, you're like, yeah, I'll take it out. Like, sweet. And he's like, what about when you're in a relationship for 5 years and someone says, can you take out the trash? And you're just like, so it's like,
I did it last time, didn't I? I did it last time. I was like, see, I take out my trash all the time and I take out my neighbours because he's a little bit handicapped. So I take his out, then I bring it back in. But that's the same sort of thing. In the morning, I'll come early. Before I go to the gym, I'm like, bring the bin in now. No, I'll do it after the gym. I should do it now. I don't want the bin sitting out the front. It's like fucking 5 a.m. I'm like, Lee, just leave it there. Fucking get home.
That's so funny. I think my mind works a little bit like yours with some things like that sometimes. But Lee, it's been awesome having you on Desktop Bodybuilding once again. Now, obviously,
thank you.
Obviously, with your transformation, one last question I do want to ask is, people are hoping you get back on stage. You know, people are excited. They're saying, like, you know, oh, with Masters Olympia, obviously that's been brought up. It hasn't been locked in or anything like that. As far as I know, it's just been sort of something Jake Wood discussed on that podcast. And then people are talking about, you know, the 212, like, what would you do? What would be your competition plan? Just say the Masters Olympia is on next year and there's other 212 contests. Would you jump into a 212 or would you jump into the Masters Olympia, or both?
I'd probably do the Masters, but then, you know, there's still a lot of good bodybuilders. You know, Dexter could come back in the Masters and look great. So there's still a lot of good bodybuilders out there. But I like the Masters to be 50 and above, because there's still some good pros who are 45, or at least to qualify for the Masters, you can't have competed for at least 3 or 4, 5 years, you know, because you could have somebody who just did the Olympia Open last year and be 46, 47, and then go into the Masters. So you got to be like me, a fucking washed up geriatric who hasn't competed for a long time. Give us a break, for God's sakes.
Well, they could split it up. If you haven't competed in, you know, 4+ years, they could have like the comeback division, you know what I mean? Where guys haven't been competing, haven't actively maybe even thought about it. And this comes around and they're going, hell yeah, I'm getting back on stage. You know what I mean? So,
or have the ones like a comeback division that shouldn't have come back.
Well, we had that maybe at the last Masters Olympia.
We just don't know when to say no division. Here they come.
You know what? People
well,
get
like stops. I said, the way the world's going, I said, I'll be in the fucking women's next year. I'll be in the fucking, I'm going to be non-binary, gender fluid, so I can just go where I want.
Yeah. Well, you pretty much can. You just say it, and then it is, you know what I mean? So,
exactly.
Crazy world we're living in. But Lee, thank you so much for coming on Desktop Bodybuilding once again.
Thank you.
How do people find you on social media and all that sort of stuff?
Facebook, it's Lee Priest. I don't know which one. You'll know which one it is, because generally, if you follow me on Instagram, Lee Priest Official 72, or is it Lee Priest 72?
It's Lee Priest Official 72. See it on screen
that's
now.
me. Any other one on there is fake, because my other one got deleted and then the other one got hacked. So this is me now, this one. And generally, you'll see if you follow this, whatever I post here goes to Facebook, so you know you're on the right Facebook page. But I got banned for another, I think I got 15 days left on my ban on Facebook.
Forever banned, Lee. From everything, not just Facebook, federations, whatever you do, you get banned.
I think the IFBB runs the fucking Facebook and that somehow. Yeah, so
like
and I'll be in Sydney on the 9th and 10th. See that little thing there? There's a gym opening up in Mount Druitt on the 9th and 10th of May. I'll be there all day at Mate's Gym. We'll be opening up out at Mount Druitt.
Which thing? Whereabouts is it?
That thing, the top one, the black one, has like a kangaroo in there. It's only like
that one.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, it's called Mate's Gym. They're going to be opening up. It's going to be a gym chain like Snap Fitness and all that. They're at Mount Druitt. I'm going to put up another post soon when they give me the exact times. I'll be there. But the Saturday and Sunday, the 9th and 10th, if you're down Sydney area at Mount Druitt, I'll be there.
Nice, awesome. Good to hear. So thank you so much, Lee. Do you have any obviously you're sponsored by Species Nutrition, which we mentioned.
Oh,
do you
yeah,
have any other sponsors
Species, of course, Species. Yeah, Species. Got to thank Dave. And you know, people know me too. I don't bullshit. People always say, oh, you say that because they're paying you. No, I don't, because I've been with companies like Muscle Tech that I left because the product was shit. And we know, everyone that knows Dave and has used his products know that it's great quality in all of them. So yes, the flavors are great. They mix easy. And like I said, on the Omega Lives, but if you do have problems sleeping, I do recommend the sleep one. And you all know I always mention the Fiber Lives, because before that I used to use the Metamucil and stuff. And I thought that was good. But trust me, if you use the Fiber Lives, you save a fortune on toilet paper, because it's true, you don't need the wipe. It's not like this turtle head keeps popping out and leaving marks on the toilet paper. The Fiber Lives just snaps off and you fucking got a clean bum. And it actually tastes good. It's like the Fiber Lives. And then I've been saving money too, because I've been using the V Mineralize, which has pretty much all you need in there. Whereas before I'd be buying vitamin D, vitamin E. It's like I've got this whole stack of fucking pills, and by the end of the day,
Coleman thing.
Oh yeah, it's like, yeah, you got to have like a tackle box, like a fishing tackle box with all your fucking pills in it. I know, it's like, yeah, but it's pretty good, yeah. And I just started on this. I've only been on this a week now to test the lies, and So
Nice.
I'll let you know how that goes. And this is pretty good too, the amino one. I'm not really big on the amino ones, drinking generally because they're too sweet.
Yeah.
And if I train without them, I could probably drink my water bottle. I could probably drink 3 of those during a workout. When I use some other brands, just because it's so sweet, I'd be lucky to drink half of it.
Yeah.
And this one's pretty good. I go through the whole water bottle, then I drink another 2. Yeah, because some just make, you're drinking it for your workout and your guts just feel blah. But I have the iced tea one. It's really good. So I can recommend that one also.
Yeah.
I haven't tried his protein. I haven't tried the protein pudding yet though, but I think it should be good as well.
Yeah, he's got quite a range now.
I don't know if it's on my diet, but I don't care if it's not on my diet. It's in his range, so I'm going to use it.
You have to. It's
got a picture of like vanilla ice cream on it, like that. It's like, how many times has that happened to you where you go into a supplement shop, you want something new, you're like, what will I buy? And it's you see a tub and it says, ooh, chocolate chip ice cream flavor, and you look at it, you go, oh, that looks so good. I'm going to have that because it'll be so nice. You get home and you shake it up and you're like, oh, yeah, it's chocolate chip if someone fucking shit in it. What the fuck is this? It's like terrible.
Yeah, there's some bad ones out there. I remember I got like a strawberry cheesecake one once or something like that. I'm like, that sounds next level. Tried it and just tastes like just artificial strawberry flavor. I'm like, this is crap. I was just like, and I don't even
it's like someone threw up strawberry cheesecake.
Exactly. It's horrible. But yeah, anyway, Lee, thank you so much once again for coming on. Check out his Instagram page. It's Lee Priest Official 72 and see what he's got going on over there. He puts a ton of content up, and obviously you're on RX Muscle all the time as well. So for Xavier Wills and Lee Priest, we are out. Hope you guys enjoyed my interview with Lee Priest, Australia's greatest bodybuilder of all time. Let me know what you think about all the topics discussed in this video in the comments below. Lee's pretty interactive, so he'll probably get in the comments as well and see all of those. Also, ask some questions because I'm going to have Lee Priest on a little bit more on this channel, and there might be something going down on RX Muscle as well with myself and Lee Priest, so make sure you guys stay tuned for that. Follow us both on social media. I think it's official Lee Priest 72 for him, and I'm Xavier Wills 89 on Instagram. So make sure you check those out. If you guys like and appreciate this content, please give this video a thumbs up, smash that like button, also subscribe and hit the notification bell button. That way you'll be notified of every video that goes up for myself, Xavier Wills at Desktop Bodybuilding. You won't miss out on any of the good content, breaking news, interviews, and all that sort of stuff. And let me know in the comments as well, what content do you prefer the most? Do you like these long form interviews? Do you like the short 10-minute, 15-minute bodybuilding news videos? Or do you like something else? Let me know what you think in the comments below and what you prefer in the comments below on that. So that's it for me, for Xavier Wills, Desktop Bodybuilding. And also make sure you hit up hdmuscle.com, enter the code DESKTOP. You save yourself 10% on some amazing supplements. The link's in the description below. The products do all the talking for themselves. They've got their full ingredients panels and all that sort of stuff. So you don't even need to take my word for it. Just look at it, read it, and I'm sure you guys will absolutely love the products. So that's it for me, for Xavier Wills, Desktop Bodybuilding. We are out.